Okay, we're live.
Welcome to the podcast, Rick.
Thanks for having me.
So today we have Rick Snidarich. Rick's born and raised outside of Minneapolis. He's lived in Bozeman, Montana for the past 10 plus years. He's an unofficial horticulturist slash plantsman. He's an outdoorsman, an angler, a hunter. He's a skier and a snowmobiler. He's a great cook. He's a world traveler. He's got a bachelor's degree in civil engineering and a master's in structural engineering. He is a refined redneck, as I like to call him. He's got great stories, and he's lived a full life, and he's an all-around great guy. Welcome to the Kyle and Tim podcast.
Welcome, Rick.
Happy to be here.
This is very informal. I think my favorite question to ask is, what's your earliest childhood memory?
Oh man, honestly, like one that really sticks out is this is gonna be funny, but taking the training wheels off of my red and white bicycle like that, and then like proceeding to rock it into the yard uncontrolled.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then probably being yelled at later for like leaving a socket wrench out in the yard or something like that.
That's where the refined redneck comes in.
Yeah.
So what's the town you grew up in?
I grew up in Mound, which is a little west end of Lake Minnetonka. So it's like, I don't know, 20 minutes west is Minneapolis. Honestly, literally, you hop on Highway 12 and just keep driving, and you end up there from here.
What's the layout? What do we paint us a picture? What's it like there? What was growing up there like?
So Mound's the like poor end of Lake Minnetonka, which is kind of funny to say in and of itself, but like it's definitely like the blue collar end, and like west of that just hits farm fields and now subdivisions, but it was farm fields at that point in time.
What's east?
East is just suburbs all the way back to the cities.
Okay.
But then you have like Lake Minnetonka is really like broken up into bays. It's got tons of little bays. It's not like a big wide open lake. So like you can be 5 miles away from somewhere and it's going to take you 30 minutes to get around.
Okay.
But it's pretty straight shot, like right into Minneapolis. Lake Minnetonka used to be like the cabin destination from the cities like 100 plus years ago. Like that's where
that's how people got away.
That was the like escape out of town. Now they go up north, but
that Minneapolis, that's the closest big city there.
How far is Minneapolis from Mound?
20 minutes
or
20 miles, like 40-minute drive, give or take. To be like downtown.
Mm-hmm.
If you forget that name, just think of like a pile of dirt.
Right.
It's literally what it's named after. It's like Native American burial mounds, like are outside of town. There, like that's where the name comes from.
So it's like all lakes around there, right? That's why I always hear like the fishing is.
Yeah, so like we didn't live on Minnetonka, but like right down the street was another lake that's connected by a little creek. Like you can't get a boat between the two, but they're like a mile apart as a crow flies from Dutch Lake to the closest bay on Minnetonka. So
that's cool. That's got to be a really cool place to grow up. Like as a kid, I would imagine if there's bodies of water, in my mind, are always a fun place to be.
Yeah, I had a bunch of buddies that lived right on Dutch, and we spent a bunch of time on there. And then as we got older, Minnetonka was the cooler partying lake, so we'd pull the boat out of there and drop it on Tonka. I don't know, it's just little neighborhoods. It's older. Where I grew up was kind of an older part of town as far as like, you know, like 70s built rancher houses, stuff like that. You know, million kids in the neighborhood. Like, summertime, you leave after breakfast and be home by dinner sort of scenario.
Yeah. And your mom's side of the family lives there, and your dad's, or how'd that work?
Yeah, so my mom moved around a little bit growing up, but then like she went to high school in Orono, which was like a town to the east of us. And my dad's from Watertown, which is a little further west. But like my grandma, his sisters still live out there, all my cousins, stuff like that. And then my mom's brother also still lives in the area, but he's kind of moved further west from the cities. But yeah, like my grandparents lived there until they retired, and they bought a house west of the city, like way west of the cities on 94. My grandpa died, and then she actually ended up like moving back in with her living in sin boyfriend.
Living in sin.
Yeah, they're not married, living together.
Yeah.
Right.
I heard that when I was a kid. Wow, like you're living in sin.
Speaking of that, you grew up in the Mormon faith.
Yep. I'm not
No
totally.
way.
Do you not know that?
No.
You didn't know that?
No.
Well, you learn things on podcasts.
This is how it goes.
Yeah, no, I don't know exactly how that worked out. It was funny because like my mom's side of the family was all Catholic, and my dad's side of the family is mostly Mormon, but my dad wasn't really like a strong churchgoer.
Mhm.
I never thought, and then for whatever reason, my mom came over and did that.
She adopted that when she married your dad.
Yeah, and that kind of sucked because, like, first off, Mormon church takes forever on Sunday. Like, you're not in there for like a 45-minute deal and then you're done. Like, it was like a 4-hour whole, morning to noon kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like all my friends were like, even the ones that went to church, it was like an hour.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then
that was like, it was pulling teeth to get us to church for an hour when we were kids. So I could only imagine.
Yeah, it was a long day.
Rick, so how many years you been soaking for? I just learned what that was like a year ago, so I just had to throw it in there.
I kind of moved out.
I don't know what that means.
I kind of moved out of the church before that was really a problem.
Rick, you got to tell Kyle what that is.
Soaking?
You've never heard of the term soaking?
I mean, like, are we talking like soaking in beer, or what are we talking
No,
about?
not exactly. So apparently there's like a loophole, if you will, that like
to living in sin.
Yeah, where the like, as long as you're not moving, it's not sex. So like, this is apparently pretty like popular, like BYU. So you just stick it in there and you're soaking. But then apparently there's like shakers.
I've heard of this.
And then like, so they'll like slam bed around.
That's moving.
Yeah, but you're not doing it.
Oh, okay. So there's other people are shaking the bed.
Apparently, I don't know. Like I said, I found beer and premarital sex before that was a problem.
Okay, got it. Wow, I didn't know that was soaking. Wow,
Kyle,
that's a whole nother ballgame right there.
Listen, there's the type of friend that'll like let your dog out for you, so you can go on a date.
Yeah,
and then there's the type of friend that'll lay under your mattress, shake that mattress. It's just a different level.
Yeah.
And some ride or die homies for
sure. Yeah. I mean, maybe they're watching too. You never know.
Hey. But yeah, apparently that's the thing. I don't know. I said that was
man, you learn things in life. Soaking.
So what was the thing to do when you were a kid growing up there? What were you guys doing?
Dude, we were always just trying to build bike jumps and shit like that. I mean, it was just skateboarding.
Mm-hmm.
I played hockey growing up, so that was like fall, winter all the time. But like in the summertime, it was running around. Like I said, building jumps, doing shit like that. Lake time for sure, but we spent a lot of time just like.
Did you hunt it all there, or did you get into that here more?
No, I grew up doing that with like my dad always hunted, but he hunted with all his high school buddies, and they hunted all like public land in northern Minnesota, and it's just an absolute chaos fest on any piece of ground you can find large enough to hold deer hunters in Minnesota.
There's a lot of people.
And it's like rifle season is like 10 days, so it's like 2 weekends in a week. Like it's not very long. And then my grandpa had a cabin also, like as a crow flies, we weren't too far apart. But they had some property, and it was, a couple 100 acres where we could just do our thing, and that's where I always hunted.
That it was rifle in your counties anyway.
You hunted at Grandpa's cabin.
Yep. Which was like a real cabin. Like it had no running water.
Yeah.
Propane lights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was fucking cold in there sometimes.
Could certainly be. Later on, like we got gas heat stuff in there, and electricity, but like never did water.
Yeah.
So, classic.
Sure. So you're camping inside of a shelter.
Yeah. I mean, classic outhouse with the moon cutting the door kind of deal. Like,
yeah.
It's just white. It's whitetail there too, right?
Yeah.
White gas lanterns and stuff like that in the house or whatever.
Yeah, though they were all propane pipes, so they just, but like had manholes and all that.
Yeah.
Like, you had to deal with that.
Is that thing still standing?
They sold it. So it was my grandpa and his buddy Dwayne were partners in it, and then when my grandpa got diagnosed with cancer, he sold his portion of the cabin. And then really not that long after that, it was only a few years, Dwayne died, and then his wife didn't really care to deal with it, and it went to the kids, and they offed it. So
yeah, that was like upstate. I mean, it was only shotgun in the county, just because of the housing density I grew up in. But like every opening year, without fail, people get shot with shotguns. Like you wouldn't think everyone's wearing blaze orange and just,
and like head to toe, like
and like without fail with a shotgun. Like you have to get relatively close with a shotgun. It's just every year, like so.
Yeah, we didn't up there. We were out, like you could use center fire stuff, but like down in the Twin Cities, there were some shotgun zones and stuff like that. But
yeah, shotgun muzzleloader, and that was it. But yeah, I could imagine that was a nightmare in public land with rifles.
So in New York, it's like in upstate New York, it's similar where like there's a couple of spots where you can go and everybody goes.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of public land.
Right. Okay.
And it just depends on the county you're in too. Like if you get up in like Western New York, it's much more rural, and then there's probably more. But I mean, it's all just like privately owned by farmers. There's not a lot of state land.
Right.
Yeah, and like no Forest Service, like the tracks aren't that big, even when they do exist. They're just.
And then you tree stand hunt, so you like get up nice and early and climb in your tree stand, and then like 30 minutes later, some guy comes like crunching through the leaves, like because he can be there, anyone can be there.
Yeah,
and he's going to his tree stand, and you're like, God damn it.
Yeah. Or like, they just something comes up, you're like, oh, son of a bitch, he's right there.
Yeah, that's the worst part. Yeah.
Man, we're hunting the same deer.
Right, exactly. He's like, how? Like he's like 50 yards or what?
Me and my buddy used to do that. Like a couple of them when we'd archery hunt, we'd put our stands like 60 yards, kind of facing each other, and like the run would be in the middle. And we just thought it was cool because you'd be watching the other, like you're covering a bigger, but like, we were just idiot kids screwing around. We were like doing
because you could watch your buddy.
Yeah, we could we're looking at each other, and then we're like both scoping out. And then, like watching your buddy shoot a deer.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Matt.
Yeah, Matt a lot and a couple other buddies, but yeah, not like some random guy with a shotgun that just came up from Yonkers and he's killing deers because it's Saturday morning and he's got the weekend off to hunt.
Right.
Yeah, it was like, I'm sure it was the same way in New York, but it was like national holiday level, like deer opener was.
Yeah, the amount
of a big deal.
And the amount of just gunshots you'd be hearing all morning.
Yeah.
Like the first one would scare you, and then you get used to it after a while. Just ringing through the valley.
It's like 4th of July.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you're right on top of it, buddy.
Yeah, I think that it makes a lot of sense. Like I never experienced it, but I could imagine that like, your first time experiencing it in a situation like that is like, you should be on your toes.
Yeah.
Like
you're a gun. Yeah.
like you know what I mean? Like you should be paying attention to what the fuck's going on. but I think that could catch people off guard, like their first experience.
Yeah, it's definitely. So I was lucky just because we didn't have that problem, but even so, like you're just even the guys around us shooting all over the place. Like, and, you can effectively hunt whitetails on a couple 100 acres. Like, you don't have to have these big giant tracts of land. Like they have their little routes and spots they like to hang out, and then they're not nearly as migratory, so everyone can kind of be stacked up.
What's the age difference between you and Maddie?
10 years.
And that's top to bottom, right?
Top to bottom. Yep.
Okay, got it.
She was number 5.
Yeah.
So we're 3 years, 3 years, 2, 2. That's the split.
Okay. What was it like growing up in a house of 5?
There was a lot going on
Yeah.
all the time. And then even like when I was pretty young, my mom was a teacher. And like pretty young, she ran a daycare out of our house. So like there was like 10 kids at the house all the time.
Yeah.
From, 7 to 5.
What was the ratio, girl, boy? How many?
4 boys, 1 girl.
Okay. And
I'm the oldest.
Okay.
And she's the youngest. Yeah. Pretty crazy to think that like my parents were less than my age with 5 kids. Like,
yeah.
That is wild. Yeah. This is how it went.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't even, I mean, 5 kids is a lot. And then you talk about the whole daycare thing. That's like mind blowing to me. But, I mean, whatever, like it probably made sense to your parents. So it was like, all right, like this is what we're going to do.
Yeah. I mean, it was staying home with kids and having some income out of the deal. Like
right.
It wasn't, also
might as well offset the cost.
Yeah. Also crazy to think like what daycare used to cost compared to, not that I'm paying for it, but it's, I'd have to think back, but like I remember the like daily rate for a kid was like nothing.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's pretty damn expensive, at least here in this city.
Yeah, I think it's expensive anywhere, really.
Like I want to say it was like $10 a day.
Yeah,
like
nothing.
Yeah, and that was like 3 meals. Like
yeah, drop them off at 7 and pick them up at 5:30.
A couple of them are like teachers in the school district, so like it's kind of just the way it worked.
So you said your dad was Mormon, your mom was Catholic. How did they get married? Did they just like? I mean, obviously you weren't there.
They had a regular. No, I was there actually.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I didn't know this. I didn't know this story either.
Yeah, no, I was there.
Okay, how old were you?
I would have been born in June, and they got married in September.
Okay.
So, like I was born my mom graduated college, and I was born in June. Like, that's the way that worked out.
Yeah.
So they were like a little slow on the shotgun wedding.
Yeah.
What?
We mistimed that.
What'd your mom get her degree in?
My mom's first degree is in art history. She was an art teacher. And then she did that for a while. She taught middle school art. And then
I know it's real quiet under the table.
We need some padded coasters, man. Every time I set this thing back down.
I got some upstairs. So we'll learn things on the next podcast. Padded coasters.
Yeah, write that down. Yeah, she did that, then quit teaching for a while when we were growing up, and then got back into it when we were all a little older and like in school. And then I really think the way it worked out was that there just wasn't a art position for her, so she started doing like provisional, like special ed, and that's what she ended up getting her master's in. And then
that's right. That's what she does now.
Yeah, and then she continued on. She's got a PhD in educational psychology, and now she deals more with like reading comprehension programs, things like that. But she kind of took the special ed thing and ran with it. And now she does more like research and stuff like that. But yeah, she reads papers, goes to conferences, works for the University of Florida.
Right.
But she's still in Minnesota?
No, she's in Portland now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so my parents got divorced when I was like 16, 17. And yeah, so their dad bounces around between like Minnesota, Idaho, and Arizona.
I've met your mom a couple times. What's your dad like?
Regular dude.
He's a regular dude.
Regular white guy.
Yeah.
What does he do, or what did he do growing up?
He's a regular refined redneck.
Yeah, growing up, he ran a body shop, and then my grandpa and my uncle bought a little excavating company in central Minnesota. Then he moved into that, doing equipment operations, stuff like that, septics, excavation, general excavation, things like that. But then now he just kind of screws around, he's been doing work for so him and his wife sold their house, bought a fifth wheel, moved to Idaho, and then he ended up starting to do work for the guy who owned the RV park. Like he was building a bunch of those little cabins and stuff like that, and so he just started, start to finish, foundation, sewer, water to roofing, the whole 9 yards.
And he's what, like 60?
He turned 60 in November.
Okay.
Yeah. So my mom's 58 right now.
Did you do much of any of that kind of stuff with him when you were growing up, or no?
Yeah, no, I mean, we did. So we moved from Mound to Brainerd, Minnesota when I was after 7th grade. We built a house up there. We did everything. Except for siding and drywall. Always pay for siding, roofing, and drywall. Don't do that yourself. That shit sucks.
I got your siding. Drywall, I'm with you. Don't touch drywall.
Same thing.
Really, roofing's a little rough on your ankles.
Yeah, and it's just not. We hung the drywall, I guess. We did that,
which isn't terrible.
Yeah,
just
taping,
mud, texture. Yeah.
No, it's not fun.
Right. Plus, it takes you 3 or 4 times as long as somebody knows how to do it.
Leave that to the crackheads. They're pretty decent at it, and they stay up late.
Yeah.
Someone's got to do it.
They do it at odd hours, so it doesn't interfere with the schedule.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so we did everything.
We are recommending crackheads for drywall.
Yeah, but reputable crackheads. You don't want any crackhead doing your drywall.
Yeah, right. They shouldn't steal your shit.
But definitely lock it up. No, we always just my dad has a shop. We always fixed our own cars. We always,
You said body shop, Kyle. You come from a body shop too, don't you?
I don't come from one. I worked at one for a couple of years in college.
Yeah.
But I have very little body shop skills. I wouldn't hire myself to do my body work.
You don't know, man. We painted that toolbox and it's looking pretty good. So.
Yeah. I can use a rattle can. I'm pretty.
Hey, some people can't.
I'm decent with a rattle can, but yeah, there's much more high qualified people than me. Where did the asphalt company come in? Because you worked for an asphalt company for a while doing roads.
Oh, that was just that was a summer thing for some shithead buddy of my uncle's that I needed a job in between. I did that between leaving Lake Tahoe, which I guess we'll probably have to backtrack on that. But
go back.
Yeah, that was just a summer. It was a terrible job. Hated it. It's hot. And it was Minnesota, so it's
asphalt's usually hot.
There's 9,000 degrees out and 400% humidity, and then you're standing on asphalt.
And really, the hotter the day, the better the day to do asphalt, right? Yeah,
100%. And it's hot, whether it's you're placing it or whether it's been placed a long time ago. It's black and it's hot.
Yeah, there's usually not shade anywhere near asphalt. Also, turns out
yeah, those summers, which from what I gather, just New York, upstate New York summers, just muggy and hot as balls.
Yeah,
just hot.
I'd wear the same pair of Carhartts all week, and by the end of the week, the salt line had made it to my knees.
Nice.
It was gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you go through like 5 gallons of water a day.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought that like your family was somewhat in the asphalt business, so I guess I misunderstood that story. But your grandfather did have an excavation company.
They still do, yeah.
Okay, got it. You say they still do. Who's they?
My uncle and my grandpa still run it.
Okay, cool.
He's getting old, but turned more into like a gravel operation than anything, but it's still they got full wash plant setups and stuff like that, crushers and all that. So
Sweet.
So are you an operator too?
it's been a while. I could probably still ruin something, but
That's the easy part.
I used to be able to hang a pretty good skid loader wheelie. Like
There you go.
I could drive up and down this street on 2 wheels.
Skid steer's my expertise, but that's just from dairy farming. That's like a dairy farmer's best friend.
Throwing bales around.
Yeah. All right. So where did you go to school?
Like high school
or after? Well, yeah. Let's go with high school.
So we moved to Brainerd. I did most of my high school, like junior high school there. My parents got divorced right before my senior year. My mom moved back to the Twin Cities. So it was like Brainerd's like 100 miles from Minneapolis area. So my mom moved back to the cities with the other kids, just from a school aspect.
Yeah.
Most of it. And then I stuck around for a little bit, but I just was kind of sick of being there by myself.
Where were you living?
With my dad.
Okay, so you're living with dad.
Yeah.
And you were going to the same school.
The same school I had been going to, which was a jaunt. I mean, it was like a 30-minute drive to get into town for school. Like we were kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I moved back to the Twin Cities and I lived with my grandparents for that last year. And I went back to the school district I had started at when I was little.
Okay.
I had kept in touch with most of my friends there.
Okay. So it's not like that was a big transition from like I don't know.
No, it was actually,
it
was really funny for like the teachers because they're like, who the hell's this kid that everybody seems to know? Like,
yeah, that makes sense.
Like I show up class one day and like,
hey.
everybody's talking to me and they're like, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
And like, where did you come from?
What kind of a student were you at that time?
I was always pretty good.
Okay.
Like I didn't have to try very hard.
Okay.
Which also meant like my parents didn't like get on my case for a lot of things. Like I was never really getting in trouble. So like the trouble I was causing was kind of flying under the radar. So
were you playing like organized sports in high school? Not
at that point in time. I had a bad relationship with the coach one year and that kind of kicked me off of, I was just over. When you spend, hockey's super like time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're spending that much time doing it and then all of a sudden you hate the guy you're doing it for, like, it's just like, I'm going to go snowboarding instead. Like that was my deal.
Yeah.
Wait, I was just thinking this a minute ago. What was your first vehicle you were driving when you got a license?
It was a 1990 Volkswagen Jetta.
Nice.
That I got.
Was that the one that made it out here or no?
No, that was my second one.
That'd be pretty.
That was like a 98, bro.
Yeah, it was.
What, a 98?
Yeah, no, that one was
like diesel or no?
No, it was the 1.8 gas. I bought it. I got it for free. It was my dad's, like, you know how like every construction worker has that like sight beater that they run around.
Every body shop guy drives the biggest piece of shit ever.
Yeah, exactly. So he had like a little runaround car. And I don't know if you've ever like dealt with those older German cars, but they're obnoxious when something's going wrong, like sound wise. Like there's no way that you are running your car like overheating, anything like that without it. Like you're trying to blow that thing up. Like there is a siren screaming at you. Like, so there was something with like the oil pressure sender like kick on this alarm, but it would just like, like when you let off the throttle, like your pressure would drop and then it would bounce back up, and it would drop such that it would turn the alarm on.
So there was literally an alarm.
Yeah, like it would like it was gnarly, like said you couldn't ignore it.
Yeah.
There was no like, oh, I didn't know that was happening. It was very obvious. And anyway, so he jumped out the warning buzzer.
Okay. He removed that.
Yeah. And then the oil pump blew up, and then he fried the motor on that car. So it sat there for a really long time, but it was
It's a problem when you only have 5 psi.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're doing 80 on the freeway.
That's
a problem.
So yeah, he blew that thing up. But it had like, it was in like really good shape. It had like 100,000 miles on it, and just
like the rest of the car was.
The rest of the car was in great shape. So I got that for free. I bought a motor on eBay for $300. I had never swapped an engine at that point in time.
Kids don't even know what eBay is nowadays.
Yeah.
That was like the original thing that you bought and sold shit on people.
That was like the glory days too of eBay, probably.
Yeah, it probably was.
Yeah, so I remember I bought it, paid $300 for it. My grandpa and I drove down because we had to like go pick it up from the freight dock, like in St. Paul. And, it just comes on a pallet wrapped in a bag. Who knows, like, what this thing is.
Yeah, I guess, like, you were that was, like, very early days of, not really early days, but I guess so, yeah, like, buying shit on the internet, and you're like, I don't really know what I'm going to get.
Yeah, what year is this, roughly?
This would have been...
like 2005, 4.
2002-ish, right? No, a little 2004-ish. Yeah, like, so I graduated 2006. I turned 18 in 2006. So then it would have been, like 2003. Right before I got my license.
Grab me another beer.
That's when like everything's sketchy on the internet. Was 2003. Now that everything's trustworthy now.
It's funny too, right? Like, cause you think about that, where like you didn't, how everyone used to be like, oh, don't put your name in an email address. But now everybody's email address is like literally
their
like
name,
first name dot last name, like.
Yeah.
That is funny. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, it became normal.
And now it's like I'm really trying to find something like that doesn't exist. There's been like hasn't been made in 20 years if I'm on eBay. That's like
7 threes.
What's that? Yeah, it's like there's not. They don't make them anymore, but there's one on eBay you can get from some guy in northern Florida right now.
Yeah, I think eBay's turned into like if you want to sell rare shit, it goes on eBay.
Yeah. But it's not like I used to look when I was like a kid. I'd look at everything on there. There's a dirt bike for this much on eBay and a 4-wheeler, and like everything.
Well, now you can just buy it, right? Like you used to have to go through the whole auction phase.
Yeah,
like,
I remember that.
Or I'm sure you still can, but like a lot of stuff, you just were like,
buy now.
All right, like I'm gonna bid on it. Let's see what happens. Like, how much am I willing to pay for this?
Yeah, does this thing have a reserve or not? Because it was like, if this thing doesn't have a reserve, I'm lowballing this fucking guy.
And I mean, this was like I bought that motor on dial-up internet. Like this.
Yeah.
Did you bid on it, or you just had the buy it now price?
I think I bid on it.
Nice. So you might have got a deal. Like that could have been.
Well, so this motor shows up like.
It's just like the one you got. There's fucking rods sticking out of it.
Oh man, that's a big hole. No, so we pull it out, unwrap it, and lay it on its side. In classic, motor pull, the harnesses are all clipped. You just start taking shit apart. But like, me and my buddy Adam started wrenching on this motor. We didn't have a digital camera. You couldn't take pictures of what things looked like.
Yeah.
And we did it. There is this on those old Jettas. There's this really goofy connection that holds the exhaust manifold to the downpipe. Like this really weird, like donut gasket connection. And it has these things. They're called like spring clips, but they're like these big, like rolled 1/8-inch steel clips. And they're like, up against the firewall. You can't see anything. there's probably
They're in the worst position possible.
the absolute worst spot. Like, sure, there's Snap-on special service tool XYZ that does it in 3.5 seconds.
Yeah.
But like, certainly didn't have that.
That thing's $800 in the motor.
So like,
$300.
Adam and I are in there with like some pry bars trying to like first get them off. But then we're like, how the fuck are we gonna get this back on? Like, we really have no like. Sure, it was easy enough to pry it off, and
there's like not. Is there even YouTube then to go like watch a video of?
No, man. No, there wasn't just guys.
Nobody's ever done this.
There wasn't just guys in their garage telling you how to do things for whatever reason. Which God bless those people.
Yeah.
Like, I can't.
Yeah.
I don't know what makes you get up in the morning and be like, I'm gonna solve this problem for 10,000 other dudes.
Yeah.
Like, just out of the goodness of my heart.
And at that point, nobody had a 1990 Jetta where they were doing a video on.
No, but we I think it took us like 2 days to yank the other motor up. I didn't have a cherry picker. I used a skid loader.
Did you just take the hood right off this car?
Yeah, put that over there. Well, we also had like, when we built our house up north, like, our house has a 30 by 40 attached garage on it.
Oh, nice.
Like, and my dad's Snap-on box the size of that couch sitting there. Like, I had everything I needed. It just, we didn't. Actually, the cherry picker was over at the excavation shop. Like, I could have gone and got one, but the skid loader drove itself from the gravel pit to my house.
Yeah.
Popped the motor out. We dropped the other one back in. But anyways, it was like, I don't know, 11 o'clock on the second day, and Adam and I bolt everything up. Fucking thing turns right on.
Nice. I feel like that's one of the most like pain in the ass things with old motors is exhausts. Just like manifolds and exhausts are always the.
Well, and I mean, you guys dealt with the same thing in New York. Like, everything's rusted.
Yeah.
Solid on there.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that when I started working on trucks out here. Like, trucks that had been here their whole life, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, you're like a quick PB blast and a breaker bar, and it just pops loose. You're like, little, and then it's like, oh, threads right off. Like,
you usually just breaking all the hardware and then just buying new hardware. That's just the standard.
Can't be stuck if it's liquid, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that was a funny deal.
Torching everything. Like, everything needed a torch to get off, and like you'd end up just cutting it because it wouldn't. Just, yeah.
So I drove that car for a couple of days, and I was like driving down the road, and like you get that like little whoosh. I was like, oh, that's weird. So like drive back home, like spin around, go back home, back the car into the garage, fucking wheel falls off. Like, the whole rear bearing just blew out. Like, I literally like back car in the garage, turned the key off, and like wheel falls off.
Whoa.
I lost a wheel doing like 40 going down the road. So
it was just because you didn't put it back on, or like,
No, we hadn't messed with any of that. So the bearing just
okay.
had,
Why? But why? I guess in that setup, if a bearing fails, the wheel would fall off.
Yeah,
especially if it's been failing for a long time.
And so this is like, it's a rear wheel on a front wheel drive car, so you just have like a little stub axle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it,
yeah, like the bearing will just ride right over that.
Yeah, like it.
Okay.
Yeah, and it, like the bearings all flew apart, like the races melted to the axle. Like,
okay.
That shaft actually cost me almost as much as that motor. Like, that had to be an OE part. That was not a.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it probably had like everything like melted and mashed to it, right?
And like, and that retainer nut, like all the threads are gouged off of it, and like, like the bearing races, like you hit them with a cold chisel, they popped off. But like, yeah, it was toast.
Yeah, I had a similar thing with the old Ford truck.
You're in 40.
Yeah, there was several, but yeah.
Oh, it happened more than once?
No, I mean there's several Fords, but there's just one in particular. There's a front. Yeah, anyway.
So yeah, the wheels can fall off. FYI. So then, yeah, we put that back together. So I was like, had a sense of freedom for like 3 days, and then it was like, oh, my car's gone.
Yeah.
How long did that thing What was the longevity of that car?
Pretty long. I bought it I started driving it, drove it all through high school. Drove it. So after high school, my buddy Eric and I moved to Lake Tahoe. I drove it from Minneapolis to Lake Tahoe. Well, not quite. I got to this wonderful town of Valentine, Nebraska, which is like northwest Nebraska. It's pretty close to like Rapid City, South Dakota. We were road tripping across the country with my buddy Eric's dad, Carl. So we pull into the gas station in Valentine, Nebraska, get out, I'm fueling up, and then like my car starts hemorrhaging coolant. I mean, just
while you're sitting there.
Yeah, like I'm sitting there filling up gas and there's antifreeze just dumping off the side of the car. I'm like, oh, well, that's something. And this would have been Labor Day weekend.
I was gonna say it had to be like a Friday night or something.
Yeah, so it's like Saturday, like pretty early in the morning. We hadn't been driving for super long. Or no, it was maybe it was Sunday, but of Labor Day weekend regardless. So we're there. I'm like, well, this is interesting. We find out that you're allowed to camp in the city park in Valentine, Nebraska for $5 a night. Which we were camping anyways. Like, so we weren't camping nearly as far away from Minnesota as we were planning on that day.
Yeah.
So we go there, dump some water in there and just like limp it down, 4 or 5 blocks to the city park.
And you're like, we'll figure this out in the morning.
No, I started working on it.
Oh, okay.
I had a little toolkit. I started, at that point in time, I had diagnosed the water pump failure based on the pulley sitting cockeyed off the water pump. So I started taking everything off. The way those inline VW engines worked is like everything belt driven was like stacked on top of each other, with the water pump being like in the middle of everything. Like the only thing lower than that was a power steering pump, and that one actually bolted from the bottom side. So like you had to take AC compressor off, you had to take the alternator out, like everything had to, like basically you're stripped down to bare block on the front to just pop that thing off. But we're in the city park, and it must have been a Sunday because there was like a church picnic going on like in the city park. And I got to the point where I needed like an 8mm Allen socket that I didn't have. And so walk over to like where this little barbecue's happening, and
there were no Ubers back then.
Yeah.
You didn't take an Uber to the auto parts store.
And even so, there probably still is an Uber in Valentine, Nebraska.
There still isn't today.
So we walk over there, and there's a couple like good old boys like leaned up against the back of a truck drinking beers away from everybody. And I was like, hey guys, what are the odds that you have, a 8mm Allen socket? And, one guy's like, well, I don't have it on me, but like, let's go back to my house. We'll go grab it. Like, no big deal. I come back and he's like, yeah, just leave it, leave it with so-and-so at the gas station. I'll go pick it up, whenever. And then they're, asking me what's going on. I was like, oh, blew out a water pump, blah, blah, blah. Like, obviously going to be here for a couple of days. Like, it's like, oh, well, so-and-so right over there, he's the guy who owns the auto parts store. Like,
there you go.
So he, like, oh, John, come over here. Like, go, and then we go back to he opens up the shop. Like,
it's Sunday and it wasn't open.
Sunday wasn't going to be open tomorrow. Like,
yeah, because it was Labor Day.
And he's like, well, he's like, I don't have it, but the Rapid City's like 80 miles. He's like, the warehouse is going to be operating tomorrow, but like they're not shipping anything. He's like, but you can buy it here. Let them know you're coming, and like you can have your part tomorrow, or it'll be here 7 a.m. Tuesday. So we took off, went and got it.
How'd you go get it?
Well, we had multiple vehicles.
Okay.
Mine just loaded down with everything I owned was immobile at that point in time.
Got it.
So we got it all back together, continued on our way. made it to Casper, Wyoming. And there was something, we were like staying the night. No, we were going to drive through the night, and we hit the freeway west of Casper, and Eric's Jeep fucking throws a rod, like, like on the freeway, like 5 minutes out of town, just like dynamos itself.
And his shit, he's got all his shit in his Jeep.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are moving to Lake Tahoe.
Yep, together.
And
like,
and his dad's in the car.
Yep.
What's a bigger piece of shit, your Jetta or his Jeep?
Well, my Jetta was operating at that point in time, so I'm gonna say.
I mean, what? Let's just back up. Were they actually
German autos?
Were they actually pieces of shit?
Yeah, dude, they were high school kid cars.
Okay, yeah.
That we're like, we're gonna drive these 2,000 miles across the country.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah,
that's what you would do.
But then we like rent a hotel in Casper, and like I literally just like slammed like 2 Red Bulls. So I'm like laying in a bed at Casper, just like staring at the ceiling, like
because you thought you were gonna keep going. You're gonna drive all night.
So I got like no sleep, anyways.
That's fucking awesome. You slam these 2 things. You're like, fuck, I gotta go to sleep.
That's exactly what I would have done.
Yeah, like I mean, we took off, like we ate dinner in Casper, like we're hitting the road, and then we're in a hotel at 10 o'clock at night again, like just like what the hell.
And you guys are like what, 18, 19? How old are you?
I was 18, and my buddy Eric, he's a year older than me, but we were in the same grade, so he was 19.
Got it.
What the hell do you do with this Jeep?
Fucking left it there.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're kind
So Eric's dad rented a minivan.
Okay.
In Casper.
Load all this shit up.
Yeah, so that was
an expensive rental.
Yeah, it was. I mean, because first off, because it was one way, so that's always expensive.
Right. And it's Casper, Wyoming.
Surprised they had a car.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, it was. We made it to Lake Tahoe. So.
There you go.
Was his dad's plan to just fly back from there? Anyway?
Yeah, that was the whole plan. He was just going to get us settled in our apartment and.
Or try to just get you there?
Which I don't even think we had an apartment lined up. I think.
So you know where you're gonna stay,
dude. I think our plan was just to camp until we figured that out.
Yeah.
Like, if I remember right, we ended up getting one pretty quick.
What time of year was it?
September, like first week of September. You know, it was Labor Day weekend.
I guess sorry. So
yeah, it was nice enough out.
Nice enough out. But once you got to Tahoe, it was gonna get chilly pretty soon.
That's like an American dream.
And none of us had ever lived in the mountains. Like, we had no idea what the hell we were getting into.
Yeah.
But I ran that car.
Yeah, you're like, I didn't know. Does it snow in fucking Lake Tahoe in the second week of September? Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, certainly can.
Yeah.
I sold that car in 2008. I was back home for the summer. Sold to my buddy Aaron for $500, which he was working. He was parking boats at one of the bar docks back home. So he paid me like in a brick of ones. It's all tip cash.
Yeah.
He drove that thing all through college, back and forth from Minneapolis to Denver. Like, it made countless 1,000-mile trips. Like,
it just needed a water pump.
And then he sold it.
You said it was like 100,000 miles when you got it. So like, yeah, it needed a water pump.
He sold it to his cousin for like $400 a few years later. And I probably still heard about it rolling around town in like 2011. Like, that it was still mobile.
It probably looks like that when you sent me the picture of the other day on Facebook.
The Riviera?
Yeah. That's probably what it looks like now.
Your comment was hilarious.
What was it?
He said the fact that it's a Riviera is fitting. It's in the river. I gotta pee. You guys keep talking.
Rick, you want to hand me one more of those beers?
Sure thing.
So you're going to Tahoe for school now? Or you're just going there?
The plan there was that I was originally going to go to college in California. That was the plan, was like get residency, and then Yeah, so I was like, California takes a long time to get like in-state residency for tuition purposes.
How long is it?
I think it was like 12 months, but like I had to be off my parents' taxes for like 2 years. So that was the big thing. It was like,
Sounds very California.
I couldn't be a dependent for a while. And then did that. I did some community college there. And then decided I didn't want to go to school in California, I guess.
Where'd you go after there?
I moved here.
So this is where you went to school? So
this is where I went to college,
MSU?
yep.
Yeah.
So it started that whole residency process all over again.
So you have to be here for 6 months, right?
No, it's still a year.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, for like in-state tuition stuff.
See, I'm only thinking in terms of hunting tags.
Yeah, hunting's 6 months.
What?
But like I got here and like the day I got here was like driver's license, registered. I mean, like
yeah. I think Kyle told me you were doing stuff on ski lifts. Was that in California or that was here?
Yeah, so we started just working as lifties, and then I ended as doing lift maintenance and construction out there, which was fun. I mean, I got paid to ski pretty much 100 days a year. Like it was super fun job. The money wasn't there, but although everyone was making $10 an hour at that point in time, so it was like
like it didn't matter.
And I had a full-time like with a vacation job at a ski resort, which was tough. Like there's only so many of those positions period now. So it was sweet. Like summers were super fun there. We did all the maintenance stuff during the summer, and if you did your job good in the summertime, then nothing broke as often, and you got to screw around and ski powder all the time.
And you're at Heavenly.
That was probably fun, I imagine, right?
Oh, it was a super fun place to be 18 to 22.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a good time. My buddy Eric never really left. He's not in California anymore, but he's a ski instructor still.
Where's he at?
He's in Aspen now.
Cool.
And like Eric and I like grew up down the street from each other. We had nearly identical phone numbers. One of the only ones I know to this day. And we were filling out wedding invites the other day, and like I didn't have to look up his mom's address. You
knew it.
Yes, 2124 Grandview Court, and the phone number is 8660, and mine was 6680.
Yeah.
Those are the OG friends when you remember their parents' house number.
Yeah.
I've still got a handful of those
Yeah.
I could call up right now.
Mm-hmm. What when you moved to Tahoe, like what was that whole experience like? You were, I would imagine that's like some formidable years where you're like, all right, I'm on my own. I'm out of the house. I mean, those are always like in formidable years, but then you're in a new place. I mean, the world's exciting. Lake Tahoe's an exciting place that's new. That's also like, kind of, I guess, relatively close to other big cities, whether it's San Francisco, Sacramento, whatever.
Yeah, it was definitely like, we were all figuring life out. Super broke. That first year we had 4 guys living in a 2-bedroom apartment.
What was your beer of choice?
Pabst Blue Ribbon.
PBR was pretty common. Frequently it was whatever was stocked closest to the door at Rayleigh's that you could grab a case of on your way out the door without anybody seeing it.
I haven't heard Rayleigh's in a while. It's a grocery store.
It's a California grocery store.
Yeah, I don't know if they're just only in California, but yeah, I haven't heard of Rayleigh's in a long time.
I think they're part of the like Albertsons chain.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was frequently whatever we could steal was the beer of choice.
So it was closest to the door.
Yeah, like if they had like a stack of Budweiser's 30 packs, like merchandise near the door,
they were gone.
That's probably what we were drinking.
Yeah. So how did you steal them? Did you put them in a cart? Did you just walk out?
Grab one on your way out?
You keep your cool.
Like, well, you're pushing your cart out past the like, you got the folks coming in. They got them stacked out.
Mm-hmm.
You go through the checkout, and you just
pick one up and keep going.
Yeah, I mean, you got to act like you're supposed to be doing it, right? Like it's not
right.
As most like 18 to 2-year-olds do.
Or like, I mean, the same thing. Like, you know, it's California, so you could do that with liquor too at the grocery store. Like,
Oh, that's in the grocery store there?
Yeah, it's all together. It's all in one spot.
And then we only drank like high end booze because I was of the impression
high end booze. You were fucking 19.
Yeah, but like here was the thing. I was like, if I'm gonna get in the same amount of trouble, like why would I steal plastic jug vodka when I can steal Grey Goose?
All right.
Like,
yeah, if you're gonna steal it, you might as well.
But we were so broke. We literally like would plan our meals around like what we could probably shoplift and what we could afford to buy.
Yeah. Lots of pasta, I bet.
A lot of pasta. But also like if you take your jacket and like tighten up the powder skirt on there.
This fucking guy
throwing steaks and seafood in there.
Yeah, I didn't know you were a thief, but I learned that too today.
Just that first year, man.
Yeah, there you go.
It's always funny and it sounds real romantic when you talk about being young and broke, and it sucks when you're there being young and broke. Just when you like are not so broke, it's funny to look back and
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Yeah. Like it was definitely an experience. It is, you know, I think it was an important lesson that probably not enough people learn these days. Like, and my parents never had a lot of money, so like I didn't have like a, you know, safety net to fall back. Like if I needed $200 for groceries, like my mom would have sent me $200 for groceries.
Sure.
But also like Venmo wasn't a thing, so she would have had to send me a check in the mail, and it was still going to be a few days. Like,
yeah, and you would have used it for beer anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it'd have been about as
Tahoe at that time was at least Tahoe at that time. I think was a really fun place to be. I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old and grumpy, but
you sound like an old man.
No, but like Tahoe is a fun place to be because I think it now seems like super overrun, and at the time it was still kind of a sleepy town during certain phases of the year.
Oh,
and so like that was kind of cool because it was like it just had a lot of character, I would say.
Yeah, and it hadn't been built up quite to like what it is now.
Yeah.
They were kind of just starting that phase when I was there, like really building out that whole like downtown village and all that. Mm-hmm. It's funny, just the other day Eric sent me a screenshot from Google Earth, and like right down the street from our house that we lived in, it's a Whole Foods now.
Okay, yeah.
I think the Super 8 is now Whole Foods.
Okay, yeah, got it.
What year did you get here?
2010.
So you probably feel like that here a little bit, right? Like there's
been a huge change in that.
Because I think it was 08.
13, 14 years. Like,
yeah,
I think it was 08 when my sister was here, 09, and I came out, and like I hadn't been in here in years till I moved here again. I was like, man, I remember it being like kind of quiet when I was there a decade ago, and it's like, it's obviously changed.
Yeah, there's way more going on.
Our Whole Foods is probably in somebody's apartment, right?
Yeah.
Remember that apartment we had next to Taco Bell? The Whole Foods.
Yeah, that's right. No kidding. Yeah, no, it's been quite crazy watching that.
Yeah, quite the change from a Super 8 to a Whole Foods.
Yeah, right there with Los Mexicanos, which is a funny name for a Mexican restaurant, but
yeah. But it worked, especially at 3 a.m.
That was, speaking of 3 a.m., there was a Subway there that had the weirdest hours. Like it closed from like 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. That was the
reopened.
And then it reopened. But they didn't sell like breakfast.
Guess
so,
that would have been like
that
would have been like on the south side of town, right?
Be right at where the Y, or like right where 50 veers off from Ski Run there, or Pioneer Trail, not Ski Run.
Yeah,
like there was a 7-Eleven right there.
Mm-hmm. I've been to that 7-Eleven.
We were just talking about like
I've been to that 7-Eleven. I think I got a Snickers.
I was gonna say, what the hell happened there? But the look on your face.
It's just funny because like I just remember being freezing cold, I don't know why I didn't have a jacket on. I was in Lake Tahoe. It was snowing, but I didn't have a jacket on, and I think I got a Snickers and a bunch of alcohol, and I was happy.
Yeah, you had a liquor jacket on, and
Yeah, and then I was like, cool, I'm cool. I
head back to the block.
I got a king size Snickers and fucking and then I went over to the Capri Motel right next to the block, and the Capri Motel was, I don't know, God, it was like $39 or $49 a night, and we'd split that 4 to 6 ways, and fucking had an awesome weekend.
Yeah, that was a fun time. That time there was super fun. Could have had some better snow years over the course of my tenure there, but that was great. Super cool.
You made me think of our hometown Subway that was like a part of a gas station. And they used to sell us chew when we were underage. They got closed down for it eventually. Or like somebody selling beer to someone underage. Like we all would go to this. All these random kids just show up at Subway and buy like 25 cans of chew. These guys, like, it was just these Indian guys, and they just no questions. Don't ask.
Yeah, no worries.
And then they were closed a year or two late.
Tahoe would be a lot of fun in the summer too.
Yeah, like the first year I was out there, I didn't stay for the summer. And then I came back and I was like, man, this place is at least as cool, if not cooler, in the summertime than it was the wintertime.
Yeah, super cool in the summer.
And then my buddy Eric started working for this boat rental company. So we'd get to grab a boat out for gas, like, which also is crazy that they'll give you a boat on that lake. Like, just,
how do you say that? Because it's so big.
It's so big. It's so deep. Like, it's so cold.
And and you're 19.
Well, and like you'll get a whole family of Asians up from San Francisco, and they just give them a damn boat, man. Like, and they would leave them. They'd get into trouble and just leave a boat.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many times where they'd go find their boat, like, banging up against the rocks on the east shore, like.
Yeah. I could see that lake being problematic for sure.
It has Coast Guard.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I could see that lake. It's just so big, and
the wind picks up.
And the wind picks up. And there can be some big waves on that lake.
Yeah, there's no like shelter on it. Like, there's no like little. There's one.
Yeah. I don't know where. Okay. Yeah.
The little. God, what's that? There's the little castle thing down in the bottom of it.
Okay.
Blank. It's like, if you look at the map, there's like this weird little like mole growing on the side of Lake Tahoe. It's like the one bay.
Yeah.
Something cove.
Whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I guess.
But if you're not there, the shelter's not helpful.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're on the other side of the lake, you're
well. It's the same deal as all the lakes your old man took you out on. Like,
yeah,
they're all just big reservoirs with nowhere to go.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Yeah, so Tahoe's fun for sure. And so then you moved to Bozeman.
Mm-hmm.
So you packed your shit, and you still got the same 1990 Jetta?
No, I had the 98 at that point in time.
Okay, pimping.
So I bought the white one.
Times have changed.
Sold the
stick shift?
Yeah, it's still manual.
Yeah. Both of them were manual.
Both of them were manual.
Yeah, you're trying to get good gas mileage and shit.
Yeah. I guess that was the case.
I don't know.
There was probably not even the thought. It was just like, probably the only thing available.
You could get them in automatics, but
you wanted to be a man.
Well, also that was just the one I got.
Right.
The one I got for free happened to be a manual.
Right.
Also, there was just a lot more manuals at that point in time. You'd have a hard time finding one now.
Yeah. Right. There was a ton more manuals at that time.
Yeah, it's a big deal now. So what year you drive this thing? What year you're here in Montana?
I'm going to go. Yeah, I'll be right back.
Get him.
Go get the Hound. Yeah, so it's 2010. Well, so I moved back to Minneapolis for the summer. That's when I did the asphalt stuff.
Okay, this makes sense now.
And that was just to I applied for school, got all that lined up. Like, I just needed to make a pile of cash for the summer and, come out here. So I picked Bozeman out of a hat. Like I had never been here. So I showed up on a, Friday night in Bozeman, Montana. And
Straight to bar 9.
no, but I did have my buddy Aaron, who I've been texting. Actually, I called just about everybody I knew on that drive. Like it was.
That's how it goes. You drive for so long, you just start calling people.
Yeah, because I did it in a day.
Yeah.
But I had my buddy Aaron. Was like, hey, will you look up like how I got to go about buying beer in Montana? Like, is do I got to go to a liquor store? What's the cutoff? Like,
yeah,
if I have to go to a liquor store, what time do they normally close? Like, growing up in Minnesota, like the liquor laws were tight, so like, you had to buy beer at an actual liquor store, and they were closed on Sundays. They're not anymore, but and they were like, yeah, closed at like 8:00 or something stupid like 10:00. And anyway, so first thing I did do was buy beer as I rolled into town.
The 2:00 one is still in effect here, right?
Yeah, you can get it till 2.
Yeah, it's like what 2 a.m.
2 to 8
a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never knew that till we lived here.
But then like I had been living in Tahoe, where like that's the same way California is, but Nevada was 2 more blocks down the road, and you just whenever you needed it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, yep. You just cross state line.
Yeah. So I moved here, sight unseen, never been to Bozeman, never seen the college. And
did a tiny bit of research.
It was very heavily influenced by the proximity of a ski resort to the college. That was the big driving factor. So I came here.
That was as much research you needed, really.
Pretty much, yeah.
Were you skiing or boarding at the time, or both?
I had started skiing pretty much exclusively at that point in time. I switched over when I was working just as something to do different.
Yep.
I was doing it so much that like you get to like mid-March and you still got a month of the season left, and it's Tahoe, so it's been sunny for like 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the millionth 40-degree sunny day in a row, and you're like, well, the snowboarding is kind of getting boring. Like, we're not doing anything fun. So I picked up skiing, and
that was what my sister moved. My sister went to school here, and she just same thing, sight unseen. Like my mother drove her out here, and she's like, "You should come check it out here. It's pretty sick." I just came out, like I hopped on a plane, and I'm like, I thought about moving here since I came out.
Your sister said that?
Yeah, she just said it. She's like, "Oh, you should come check it out. You love it." And then like ever since I came to visit, I'm like, "Man, I got to move there someday. It's just a cool spot." She didn't know. She just
I was like, I think I want to go to engineering school, and I want to ski. So like that's if you really put like that kind of stipulation on things, like there's not a whole lot of options really. Like
well, and it's like check. It's like engineering, boom.
I mean, for skiing, real proximity, you're like here in like University of Utah. Like that's
probably.
Like as far as like actual proximity to skiing, like some people would argue Denver, but then it's not that close. Yeah, like you're not danger close. Like you're not leaving class at 10 and still catching turns. Like,
were you a Bridger guy or a Big Sky?
I skied Bridger initially for a year or two. I was
so then at that point you switched to snowboarding pretty much. You like stop. I'm sorry, you switched to skiing.
Yep,
you stopped snowboarding.
Yep. And then I was working at Home Depot.
Part-time job.
Yep.
It's a good time for a shout out to Home Depot.
Shout out. Hey, nothing wrong with Home Depot. I think
more saving, more doing.
I mean, I had one of my best friends work at Home Depot.
Well, I mean, a good portion of like lifelong friends I've met working at Home Depot.
Mike,
my buddy Mark, who I got a cashier job at Home Depot.
That'd be so fucking cool if I saw you there. Oh my god!
Like that's what I started doing, and then I moved to the garden department.
That's how you became a
This
horticulturist.
is all full circle, man. This all makes sense.
But so,
Hey, by the way, just everybody knows, Rick grows some bitchin' peppers, and he's a killer tomato grower. There's a couple other things he's pretty good at, but
What about the food he cooks?
forget that for a second.
Okay.
I'm saying as far as him growing
later down the list,
growing those things, dude, it's unreal. His tomatoes are enormous. I think he put steroids in them. I'm not sure I recommend that, but they're huge.
Yeah.
Same with his peppers.
So like we started at cashier. Buddy Mark ran the service desk. And like Mark, when I met him, had like long hair. He's a bass player, bless his heart. He made a poorly worded deal with the devil. That's a running inside joke, but it has to do with not being the lead guitarist.
Okay.
You still get to play guitar, but you didn't really cover your terms well with the devil.
Right.
And you got a room with the drummer. But anyways, Mark, like Mark's there at the service desk. He's wearing like shredded jeans, Birkenstocks. Like he's got long hair. His lip was pierced at that point in time. Anyway, so we started like I got like placed down on one of the registers with him like one of the first couple days I was working there, and we hit it off. And then next thing you know, I find out his parents have a house on Bridge Bowl. One of the condos up there, and so we're both skiing.
One of the very rare condos up there.
Yeah, this is also, I mean, Mark had bought a new pair of skis on a credit card, and he didn't have enough money to put bindings on them that whole first year.
That is pretty funny.
Yeah.
So did he put old ones on it, or did he not?
No.
Bitchin' skis, dude.
These awesome
Just can't ride them.
And it was a banner snow year that year too. Like it would have been so sweet to be able to mount.
Are you sitting at home with these fucking skis?
Yeah, I mean, he spent like every penny he had on new skis and a season pass. Like that. That was the deal.
That's fucked up.
But we would go.
You mean he spent every penny he had on his credit limit?
Yeah, exactly. His $1,200 credit limit.
That's right. That would have been high back then. Fuck.
So yeah, but we used to like cruise around the store. One of us would take off our aprons so it would look like we were helping somebody, and we'd just meander around the store.
So you guys you'd pretend one of you was
It looks good on the cameras.
Playing custom cashier.
Yeah, it was pretty lawless at that point in time at the old Home Depot.
You're like, dude, listen, I still have steaks in California. I got this shit.
Also, like, I don't know what the deal is, but they do pre-employment drug tests, but they clearly aren't checking them.
Right.
It's funny.
So yeah, but like Mark and I would go. I was getting my residency, so I could only take like 6 credits a semester while getting a residency. There was a restriction on that. If you were in school, you couldn't be full time. So I was not going to school much, working, and then like Mark and I would like leave Home Depot at like 9:00, drive up shitty square body Ranger that the 4-wheel drive worked intermittently on, and funny thing is you could not get people to go skiing with us. Like we'd be like calling people up like
you're leaving at 9 a.m. or 9
p.m.
9 p.m. So you're gonna spend the night and then
spend the night up. Like we're gonna run up there. We're gonna grill some burgers at his parents' condo,
and you're right there.
Like, you know, even if you got something going on tomorrow, like hit first chair, be back at noon. Like, you know, be like, oh, it's snowing. We should head up to the condo tonight. Also, like if you're ever making like Krusty's pancakes, if you just put Pabst in there instead of water, pro move.
Okay. Side note.
Yeah. Also, if you fry them in mayonnaise, also pro move.
All right.
That Mark taught me that. I'll give him credit.
Okay.
Credits to you there.
For both those items.
For both those items.
All right.
I have to try it sometime.
Yeah, Pabst and mayonnaise.
Yeah, they're delicious.
Yeah.
It just adds a little like savory to your pancake with the sweet. Like it's pretty good. But
Do you make your
It's a
grilled
pro
cheese
tip.
with mayonnaise or
shit,
butter?
yeah, I do.
Yeah, good. Okay. What about you, Kyle?
I haven't made a grilled cheese in a
What
long
would you
time.
make it with if you did?
I mean, I would have made it with butter, but now that you're
See,
saying,
I was gonna say it's
now
like a controversial topic.
now,
depending
no,
on-
I mean, I don't got no problem with mayonnaise. I love mayonnaise.
yeah, it's usually good.
Yeah, it's good.
So, all right.
And it gives you like you
Should
get like
be
a
good.
nice brown
Yeah.
color on it. It's like it spreads nicely.
Sure.
So you fill like all the nooks and crannies with grease.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes more sense.
Yeah, so we did that.
Every pore of the bread is getting filled with mayonnaise.
Exactly. Just like your arteries.
Right. So you said people wouldn't come up.
Dude, it was really hard to get people to like,
Why do you think that was?
I don't know.
So it was just you and Mark then a lot.
A lot of times it was just Mark and I. Like
And you'd ski for 3/4 of the day or whatever and go to class or something.
we referred to them as like romantic evening. Like, cause it literally we'd be sitting there and like you'd have ski boots next to the fire.
Yeah, warmed up.
Like just the two of us hanging out in this condo.
Yeah.
And that was back too when you had no service up there.
Right.
So like it's kind of fun because you were just like away from everything, and
you're only 20 minutes away. So,
and there was actually he did have a landline, like his parents had a landline there, so like you could get a hold of people, but or like because like a lot of people just didn't know exactly where it was at. Like, there's no reason for you to take that road unless you know what's going on up there. So yeah, we had a tough time getting people to go skiing. It was just weird.
Yeah.
Like, you're thinking about it like, man, if I was 22 and somebody told me, like,
what do you have better to do? No, I get it. I don't know. Maybe I'm misunderstanding that, but like, there's all kinds of shit that I think I would have done now. Like, look back now, and I'm like, I didn't do because I thought like something else was more fun or was more important at the time. Like, going to school in Chico, like I never went to Lassen National Park. It's right there.
Yeah.
It's like there's so many things that are like within an hour and a half of Chico that I didn't do. But I was like, am I going to go to Lassen National Park or get wasted and go to this fucking party? I'm going to get wasted and go to this party, right?
But this is also like, we're talking about kids that like bought season passes.
Yeah, okay.
So, they were skiing. They just...
Yeah. So then, maybe I'm misunderstanding why they're making those decisions, but
yeah,
whatever. Okay, so then 6 more months goes by, you become a full resident, and then you enroll fully in school. Was that kind of how that worked?
Yeah, so like fall 2011, I was a full-time student.
And you knew at that time that you wanted to do some sort of engineering, or you knew you wanted to do structural engineering at that time?
I was pretty set on that prior to even coming here.
Okay.
But I hadn't like totally nailed it down for sure.
So you have a bachelor's degree in civil engineering.
My bachelor's in civil. I guess technically my master's is in civil also.
But just an emphasis in structural.
Yeah, like all my coursework was structural stuff.
Would it be safe to say that your professional experience is in structural engineering?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know the first thing about sewer water.
Okay.
Other than it goes downhill.
Right. It's like it better have some fall.
And if it doesn't go downhill, you got to put a lift station in. That's
it. You got to put a pump in. Yeah. Or, I guess you're not doing like parking lot or street design or anything like that. Yeah.
No. No like stormwater stuff, anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of went the structural route right off the bat.
Got it.
All right, so you're here. Like, when do you get into the hunting scene here?
Took me probably 2 years to get hunting out here. Like,
fucking tell me about it. I'm on like year 5, and this is the first year I hope I actually go hunting.
Well, it's just, I mean, it's even so, it's just like trying to figure out the system. I mean, like you're dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
But
now you got You got my ears perked. You said daunting, and I don't know the difference between hunting in New York or
Yeah, no, I mean,
outside
it's
of
just like
Minneapolis.
you
So
go
daunting is like I don't know what a.
Also, I never
into.
had to find a place to hunt.
Yes,
Like I
exact
grew up
same
knowing
thing.
exactly
Yeah.
where I was going hunting,
Yeah.
and
With everybody else,
yeah,
we
with
might
everybody
shoot.
else.
We might shoot each other.
But like, yeah, like I never had to do that for myself. This was also like very early on stages of like Onyx and all that. Like those were still like chips you had to buy to put in your GPS, like your handheld Garmin, which like
You were lost anyway.
yeah, dude.
You were
Like you're
just
trying to
fucking lost.
navigate on that little screen, like
You were fucking lost.
yeah, like the only thing it told you was like what way north was, and even that was questionable sometimes. Like
Look, $85 compass I got in my hand right now.
yeah, it was yeah, so it was just like trying to figure out, and then like moving from whitetails to elk is like an absolute like huge jump. I mean, they're crazy compared to hunting whitetails. I had done some mule deer hunting in Wyoming as a kid, in Sheridan, and so I was like a little familiar with like open country, like breaks, badland type hunting, like the eastern Montana type things, stuff like that. But like full on like mountain hunts and like, grizzly bears and all that was
all new.
yeah.
Did you guys?
Well, yeah, I guess that would be, in a sense, like that would be like extremely daunting because you're adding in way more factors.
Yeah, and then like
it's not just like, cool, I'm gonna shoot a whitetail and fucking go drive the truck over there and
and
put it
here's
in the back.
like you look at a map of like public land in Montana and you're like, where do you even start? You're just like throwing darts at it. It wasn't like back home. You're like, well, here's this state forest, so like we'll probably go there.
Mm-hmm.
There's only 4 spots.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're hunting public land, there's like.
And like you said, when you're tree stand hunting, if you have like 200 acres, you can get like 6 or 7 guys, and you're just sitting there. You're not traversing.
You can
across.
manage. Like you can know what's going on. Like obviously, like trail cams weren't that awesome then, but like you could see like where animals are moving through and be like, okay, well they clearly walk through here frequently. Like so.
Because it was a small area. So everybody was scoping it out.
This is a small area, but like even our property back home now, like we've got stands set up that like the deer come out of field X and they cruise down to the swamp, and like they're either going to walk on this side of the hill or they're going to walk on that side of the hill. And you know what? We got to stand on either side of it. And like hopefully we got someone in the right morning. Like
yeah, you built like a stand out of treated lumber, and it's like that's just a good stand. It doesn't move. It's like it's there for 20 years. Like that's usually a good. It's just
you're like that's Donnie's stand. Like
it's established.
Yeah,
like you said, they don't migrate very far, so it's like the same.
Yeah, and they have like elk still do it too. Like they have a loop, but like theirs is just way bigger.
Yeah, I don't know what's the general radius for whitetail. It's not. I've heard it
a couple miles at max. Like
so they're in a routine.
Yeah, they're generally local deer. Like they're not. You might catch one that gets a wild hair and goes.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. Like, why would they change it up if it works, right? Like, if they're like, there's all the things they need. Why are they going anywhere?
Just the rut, like that's what you're waiting for.
Like, yeah, you're waiting for them to be moving around and making dumb decisions.
Yeah,
So yeah, like moving out here, like it was just this whole giant concept. And it took me like making some friends that grew up here, and just to even like have an idea of like where to start. And even then, I still don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like,
what was your first harvest here?
First harvest here was a mule deer, nice buck,
rifle archery.
Rifle. It was opening morning.
Nice.
Yeah, we cruised into this buddy Austin, who I was in school with, and Tony Miller. The 3 of us rolled in. we left. Tony had an East Coast Ram that was just absolutely clapped out. And he had put
Clapped out.
What does that mean?
just rusted to bits and just.
Okay.
And he had like his exhaust is rusted out, and he had slapped some like glass packs on there.
Okay.
Something stupid like, and it's just
A Ram pickup.
yeah, it's like just obnoxious truck.
That's like a sticker I see in trucks these days. It just
Okay.
I saw something on Instagram the other day that said make square bodies $1,500 again.
That's
that's
awesome.
pretty good. Yeah.
But anyway, so like
Yeah, it's like they were $1,500 not that long ago.
we hopped in there, we drove, up this road, hit the snow line, and couldn't go any further, which I think was the big reason we had like decent successes, because we just went further than everybody else like that, which I will say is one of the key points of Western big game hunting is just got to be able to go a little further than everybody else. That's kind of the you either got to have a really good spot or be able to get in further than somebody else. But yeah, we got in there, shot a couple nice bucks opening day. It's cool. It's hanging out in my office. It's cool, like trashy 5x7 dark mountain buck. It's a cool little deer.
When did the chef cook Rick come into play? Because that's like, I don't know. That's for me. That's like what you're known for.
I think that kind of started along that time, like just trying to, all of a sudden I have this. Now I'm in college. I have, a surplus of meat at this point in time, which has never happened.
Really, so do you know how much burglary I had to do to get this much meat?
Yeah,
just a couple years
just months ago, months of work. All and this just happened in a couple hours. So yeah, I had had that, and like, I grew up eating venison all the time, and it was just never that exciting, like
kind of boring.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic like Midwest. Everything has fucking cream of mushroom soup on it. Like Tim's over there, like, my favorite recipe is still cream of mushroom soup.
Son of a bitch!
How dare you?
You just insulted half my family and every recipe I know.
But yeah, so I just started trying to like make it better. I got into smoking meats when I first moved out here too. Like that was.
You're an early smoker.
Yeah, like I had a little, this really shitty little grill. Mark and I bought. It was so at Home Depot.
Did you steal this from Home Depot?
No, we didn't steal it. But there's this.
But like it was loaded on a pallet into the back
of the door on the way
into the back trunk of my Jetta.
But so
I don't know how it happened.
The way when they get rid of a product SKU, this might be proprietary information you're not supposed to share, but
they get rid of a product SKU. It's not stealing, I swear to God.
Well, no. So like when they decide they're not going to sell something anymore, they start marking the price down, right? Like they're trying to liquidate it. And then this was something you'd have to do all the time when you were doing like inventory audits. You'd have to find these things that the price got dropped to a penny, because it could never go to zero, right? Like that, it would just reduce and reduce and reduce however many you had left. Like it was $39.99. Now it's, $34.37, and then it would just like reduce and reduce and reduce.
It's coming down 3 to 5% all the time.
Yeah, yellow tag shit at Home Depot is the stuff they're getting rid of. They're not going to have that again. So the price would just like continue to drop. So Mark and I, we needed an après skiing grill. So we found one. Like it was just like, oh, that grill's like $30. Like the little shitty charcoal grill.
Yeah.
And wish this wasn't a podcast because I probably have pictures of this thing. It was a goofy little like square charcoal grill.
Yeah, we need to get an assistant and bring
Where's our picture?
Where's Vanna?
We'll get Vanna White and a screen at some point, but not right now.
And you
Anyway.
probably get an employee discount on that too, right? So you probably get
No, they didn't give us anything for
God.
discounts.
Damn.
But anyway, so we're like, we find this grill and like we go to buy it and we're like, fuck, it's a penny. Which is a problem because like you're supposed to throw away shit at a penny. Like that's like it's no longer for sale. Like that stuff's like right off loss, like scrapped. So like you really were not supposed to
take them
as an employee. Like you were not allowed to buy shit at a penny. Like that was not cool. So
you stole it.
No, Mark like stole it to me for like $10. Like he went in the system.
Yeah,
and
manipulated it. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. And so we got this grill, but it had to be like portable for skiing. So we cut the legs off of it.
Was it propane or was
it was a little charcoal grill.
Okay,
like, it was like a little Weber type charcoal grill.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was square.
Yep.
And it was like
small,
maybe 12 inches. Like we modified the legs to be like 12 inches tall.
Okay.
Like I could fit it in the trunk of my Jetta.
Yeah.
That was the point.
Yep.
Or Mark's shitty Ranger. And yeah, so we had that grill. First time we actually ever used it, we forgot lighter fluid. We lit the charcoal with a road flare that Mark had in the back of his truck.
This is where the refined red milk comes in.
Yeah.
Got our dogs.
And some gasoline.
No, just the road flare. Got our dogs grilling. It's all good. But then I had that little grill for a long time. Most of it, we only used it for that intended purposes during the ski season. So it was just around. So I started like smoking pork chops on it, wood chips and all that 9 yards, indirect grilling and
on
all
that little fucking thing.
On that little stupid thing.
Yeah.
So you were way ahead of the Traeger curve.
Yeah.
Do you have a Traeger or no?
I do.
Yeah.
I want an actual offset smoker, but I think if I get one more outdoor cooking implement, Haley will kick me out of the house.
Probably.
What do you have? You're fresh now. Fresh into a marriage, and you'll be ready for it.
Four or five right now.
I've got 3 grills and a pizza oven in the backyard.
That's right.
So
yeah.
They're all different. I have a charcoal grill. I have a gas grill. I have a Traeger. And I have a pizza oven.
You think someday you'll be like, remember when I had to have like 5 of those? Now I got this all in one.
Probably, yeah.
Fireplace.
They probably will.
I don't know, man. I think I'm going acoustic. I think we're going
going acoustic. Going backwards. Or staying.
I want one of those like mill scale offsets. Like that would be the
I don't know what that is.
Dream rig.
What is that?
Mill Scale is a smoker company out of I think Lockhart, Texas. The guy that owns Yellow House Barbecue, he has a big mill scale offset. Okay. They make like giant trailer mounted stuff. But then they also have like the homeowner version, which like the grill surface is like the size of this table.
Okay. So you would be able to do all kinds of things in that thing. Like it's adaptive. Because right now you have 4 different tools.
No, I mean it's still just a smoker.
Okay.
Like,
okay. Got it.
Like I would get rid of the Traeger if I had that.
Yeah.
I still have the like gas grill for like. I could get rid of the charcoal grill probably.
Mm-hmm.
That would probably not be necessary anymore. But yeah, that's the ultimate goal would be to have something like that. But like I said, I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
What year did Rickapalooza start?
That would have been, gosh, what year was that? We always screw that up because Haley and I can never remember when she bought her house.
Okay, so that's.
But it was the summer that she bought her house.
So it was like 8 or 9 years ago?
No, it was like 18 or 19. 2008.
Okay. So
yeah.
then that would have been like 6 years ago.
Yeah,
or
it's
5 or 6
few years ago.
Okay, that's when Rickapalooza started.
That's when like it got the official name.
Okay.
We always had Mark's Giving. My buddy Mark always threw a big birthday party. His birthday is February 28th, so that was always a March party. And I usually did something for my birthday, but it got the term at that point in time. So Haley bought her house right after my birthday that year, and like my birthday had been like a Tuesday that week or something like that, and she closed on her house on like a Friday. And she was hell bent on having a birthday party for me, which, good on her. But like, it was like, well, my birthday already passed, like, so it's probably not like a huge deal.
Yeah.
We don't have to do it right away. It's not like we already missed the day, so like,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
not a big deal. But she was very insistent on it happening the Friday that she closed on her house, which like
At her house.
And she was, I want to say it was probably like June 27th. She had to be like out of her house the first of the month. So I took the day off work, moved everything out of her apartment. At least all the all the furniture, everything big that like.
That's true love because moving sucks.
And it was a second floor apartment. And so she gets the keys at like noon. I mean, that title work hasn't even posted yet at this point in time. And like we were moving shit into the house. And we get we get the keys at like noon, and we have 40 people at our house at 5:30.
Sounds about right.
I knew this thing was wild. That's better.
36 episodes in, we just got that fucking table fixed. Just found out about Rickapalooza.
So yeah, that was the first one. Was we had gone to Yalapa that spring and caught a bunch of fish, so it was a big fish taco party. We ended up expediting our moving into the house process because we could not find the can opener. So that was the start of we'll start with kitchen box number 1.
Yeah.
Put all this shit away really quick. Nope, still no can. Okay, kitchen box number 2. Lo and behold, the last kitchen box we opened is the one with the can opener. And yeah, that was the first version, and then we've done it ever since.
Nice. I gotta pee one more time.
When is your birthday?
June 24th.
What's on the... do you got any plans for the upcoming Rickapalooza 2024? When's your wedding party?
June 8th, so it's gonna be...
so it's gonna be you're gonna have to really step it up.
Or really casual it.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, that's June 8th, and then...
what are the numbers looking like for that one?
There's 300 people on that list.
God damn. Where is it? I know I got the invite.
Yeah, Beal Park.
What's the plan? Are you cooking?
No.
You got someone catering it?
We're doing Yellow House Barbecue.
Where are those guys out of?
Yellow House?
Yeah.
So they're on...
you just said them 10 minutes
ago. They're on Mendenhall.
Okay.
Right by Eckroth Music there. Right at 7th.
Why have I never... What do they just cater private stuff, or do they...
No, he does. So he has a catering company, and he's from Texas.
Okay.
I can't remember where from, but he runs a private chef catering company.
Do you know anything about them, Kyle?
Who?
Yellow House?
I've never eaten there, but I'm familiar with them.
It is a restaurant you can eat at?
Sorta. I'm gonna pee quick.
Yeah, so they have limited hours, and over on in Midtown right there.
He said it's by Eckroth Music, which is like
Yep.
Mendenhall and 7th.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if I've seen this place. I've driven by it 1,000 times.
Yeah, it's hard. It's not like out there, and they have limited hours, and they're not open every day of the week.
Dude, that's what we got to try to. We got to talk.
Oh, you're whispering. We're on a spot. We're on a
He
podcast.
can't hear it. Yeah, but he's not going to hear it. But I don't. It depends on how fast we put this out.
Okay,
We got to try to get him one of those smokers for his wedding.
we can figure that out.
Yeah, we got to talk to like Haley and some of his buddies because
we can't talk to Haley because she's.
well, it'll just be for. Yeah, you're right.
We'll
Maybe
figure
we
it
will.
out.
All right, we got this.
What's it called?
We can't put. Well, he said it's a smoke that they have.
Okay.
You got to.
Guess what? We can rewind.
You got to record this dumb moment.
We can rewind this and figure out what he said earlier.
Yeah, that's what I thought about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rick, I don't know where the hell this place is. I didn't know you could eat there. Is their food any good?
Their food's amazing. They don't have.
Okay, so hold on, time out. We gotta gauge this real quick.
Since we keep all pissing, I'm just gonna piss one more time.
Just go piss. So let's gauge this real quick. So like when you say it's really good, on a scale of 1 to 10, and I'm talking nationwide. I'm not talking barbecue in Bozeman. I'm talking like you could be in Texas, you could be in Tennessee, you could be in California, wherever, right? Like you're talking, this is really good barbecue. What's the style? And
It's
on a scale to, 1 to 10 nationwide, what do you think it is?
I'm gonna say he's a solid 8
Okay.
for sure. I mean, he's really
8 all the way across country. So that means it's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that I've had anything much better. Just like I would say that like if 10 being like a Michelin starred barbecue joint,
No,
like
just,
but like he's really good.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So what style is it?
It's like primarily like Texas.
Okay.
Beef is king. He started to do some like pulled pork stuff and like some pork ribs and things like that, but like the brisket's the shit. And like he does those big beef dinosaur ribs, like those are super good. But like the big thing is that he started doing it kind of as like a passion project. Like so he has this other business. And that's why the hours are limited. Like that's only like Friday, Saturday kind of deal. Because he has this other business that he's working at, and I think that like the whole like Yellow House spot, which is why there isn't really a restaurant for it, is like it's mostly a prep kitchen. I think for his business, like it's a commercial kitchen in the house.
What is his business?
I think it's called Rad Foods. But he does catering and private chef stuff full time. That's his like main gig.
Got it.
And the like bunch of stuff up in like Big Sky and stuff like that. But then he like started doing the barbecue as like a just side project. Because it started out really slow. Like it was like, hey, I'm doing like 80 pounds of brisket, and like that's it. Like I've got like 2 sides, and I sell brisket. Like that's all it is.
Yeah.
And when he first like opened up the doors, it was an hour wait to get barbecue in there. Like people were lined up like around the block drinking beer outside this house, like in the wintertime. Like it was cold.
Yeah. They wanted the shit.
What was the rating on 1 to 10?
He said 8 nationwide. Across the whole country, he thinks it's about an 8. It's got to be good shit.
We're gonna find out in June.
I mean, the guy ships his wood in.
That's dedication.
Like he's getting post oak from Texas. Like that's
what I was wondering. I'm not into like the politics of smoking, but like I'm sure a lot of people probably think the Traeger's like bullshit in a lot of ways. If you're just like, throwing pellets,
I think from a general control standpoint, for sure. Like I mean, it gets the job done. It's super convenient. I've like listened to guys talk about it, and like the best thing for like I think the serious guys will tell you that like you can't beat an offset smoker. But like I know that like guys that do a lot of stuff are like it's really great for recipe testing because
so
it's
literally
like
offset.
So like your
It's like
offset smoker.
cantilevers?
No, you have like if you think about like the big smokers, you'll see it like either big barbecue joints or like at the fair, whatever, the trailer mounted ones. It's like a propane tank, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like a big ass stack on one end. The fire's on the other end.
Okay.
So like you build a little fire here, the smoke comes all the way through,
Yeah,
and then out the flue. So like you have very indirect heat, and you're controlling the temperature coming through that box.
Yep.
So you may have 1,000-gallon propane tank in a firebox this big, like it's just a little guy that you're feeding wood into, and it's wafting through. And so like it's just like you're getting the most smoke, you're getting the best bark, you're getting and it's just an old school way of doing it. And I would say that any purist would argue that that's probably the way that it should be done.
But the Traeger's good for like just fucking around with anything,
or like I could throw a brisket and go to work.
Like look at your phone.
And, like it's super convenient. You don't get exactly the same quality, but it's like good enough.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this dude like ships his wood in. He buys really high end meat. Like it's pretty pricey. Like brisket's like $40 a pound or something like that, which is not all that crazy when you look at like what like Franklin's is in Austin, or like what Terry Black's is, those kinds of stuff. Or like,
have you been to those spots for their? Yeah. So when you compare theirs, because I just like hear about his like a lot through like podcasts and stuff, but is like how does that compare to his, like Terry Black's to his?
I mean, it's in the same realm. Like Terry Black's has a few more like staples. Like I haven't really liked the jalapeno cheddar sausage that Terry Black's makes.
You like it or don't?
It's super good.
Yeah.
But like it, like it's all just like meat and smoke, because like those like classic Texas barbecue spots are just like, it's just salt and pepper. It's not like anything crazy that they're putting on beef generally. There may be like apple cider vinegar mopping and this, that, and the other, but like the main rub is just like 50-50 kosher salt, black pepper. Like it's not nothing crazy. And so it like the meat and the technique is the star, but like,
how do you think River House compares to any of this?
I like River House. But like Carney's a Texas kid too. Like
that's what I gathered. Yeah. I've always thought theirs was very good too.
It is good. Yeah. Like I think honestly their fried chicken is amazing.
I haven't had their fried chicken.
Oh, the fried chicken at River House is incredible.
Okay.
I don't want to spot blow it, but like their fried chicken,
you're definitely gonna spot blow it on this podcast.
We got a couple million listening right now.
Their fried chicken dinner is $7.
We have 25 of the same people listening 3 times.
Sure.
I will say I just went like 2 weeks ago. I dropped someone off up there late, and I was like, I'll just order some to go from River House because I got a 20-minute drive through there, and it was a little bit of a wait for what I ordered. And there's like, here's a box of fried chicken on the house. I'm like, it was good, and like they just threw that in there with it.
The 3-piece fried chicken dinner is $7
in Big Sky. That's a steal.
Yeah, you can't even buy 3 pieces of chicken raw
you can't.
for $7.
Like you can't get like a stick of salami and a slice of cheese in the gas station on the corner of 199 and Lone Mountain for $7.
No, and it's great. Like it's a dine-in only thing. Like you can't get it to go. Like, but like I just ate River House the other day, like a week and a half ago. Actually 2 weeks ago today. It was fantastic. I love the place. It's awesome. And he's like, you're in Big Sky, fucking Montana. He's got Shinerbach on tap. Like he's a Texas kid. Like, he was also the only.
Does he have Lone Star too, or what?
No, but he was also the only reason that Bucks sold Busch Light.
Oh, nice.
Interesting.
And now that's a national.
Oh, he was just like, you have a pretty high end restaurant that just happened to have Busch Light cans at their bar because Carney was there and he had a couple locals that like to drink it, and he kept it on for. So, but yeah, Yellow House is incredible, super good. Should definitely go.
Yeah, now we got to go. Well, we're going to try it in June, but I kind of want to try it before then.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. He's pretty consistent now. Like when he first got into it, it was like you'd have to see it on like Instagram, like, oh, he's going to do it this weekend. He makes this like, what's it called? Like King Ranch casserole. Fucking incredible.
He must be a Ford guy.
He might be.
King Ranch.
He's a Texas Ford guy.
It's got like smoked chicken and cheese and corn. I mean, it's just like, it doesn't sound that, like if you read the description, you're like, okay, whatever. And Haley bought it one time. I was like, this stuff is incredible. It's super good.
It would have been high country casserole if he was a Chevy guy.
Well,
Alaskan casserole.
those are all new.
Alaskan edition. I don't know how long a high country
Denali casserole.
Right.
A Laramie casserole.
Well, that's Dodge.
Yeah, nobody likes that.
He makes a Tres Leches cornbread cake. That's pretty fucking awesome too.
Does this guy open on
So-
Sunday night?
I was gonna say, yeah. So he's branched out from just the meat and a couple of sides.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like, I mean, he found out pretty, like, it used to sell out in like the first hour. And he's since like upped his numbers. But it's one of those things too where like
his quantities.
his quantity is up, but like it's kind of a gamble, right? Like it's a 24-hour deal to make that meat. And like if you're not selling it all.
Yeah, why would you waste it?
That's what I thought, and I wasn't going to say it, but whatever. Millions of people listening. The last time I had brisket at River House was like, it was pretty damn dry. I was like, shit, I'm like dumping barbecue sauce on it, but I'm like, I mean, they're running a lot of people through here and they're busy, so it's the peak of ski season. But
it's probably packed.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I think when you get that busy, you probably just get stuff to like have top quality all the time.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like also too, like, what are they selling? You know, like, you go to a place like Terry Black's or Cooper's or anything like that, where like, you're selling brisket all the time. They'll do like a pretty long, like hot box hold on their meat. So like, they're smoking it the day before, and holding it at temp for 8 hours or whatever. And then they get, it's just ready to rock, and then their smokers don't shut down. Like you go into like a Cooper's and there's like 3,000 gallon propane tank smokers. They're just full of meat at any given time.
Cooper's, where's that? Texas.
Yeah, they're like Llano, Fort Worth, Dallas, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Maybe not Dallas. I know there's a Terry Black's in Dallas, but Cooper's at Fort Worth is fun. Just because the stockyards are cool. But I've never been. Just go. Right next to Billy Bob's.
Casey Donahue. Stockyards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost went down, was almost bought tickets to show his at Billy Bob's not that long ago. Yeah.
We saw him the first year we went to Miles City. Never forget that year.
He was good.
I saw him at the filling station in like 2011 for like $8.
Yeah. He's been out here a few times since in Bozeman. He's just like a fun, drunk Texas country guy.
Yeah, it's just a fun show.
Yeah,
it's just a very fun show.
Yeah. He's just drinking and he's having fun.
They're but like same with like I think Shane Smith puts on a good show every time I've seen him, but like they're one of those bands that when they come through, you're like see them on stage and you're like, those guys look like they're having fun.
Yeah,
up there. Like they look like they're having a good time.
That was the first time I saw him. I'm like, oh, this guy's like, he's just killing beers and having. This is what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun when it's fun. Like like you look at the bands like that and they're like laughing at each other, like in between like breakdown, just off mic, just they're having fun. They're having a good time.
That's who they should get Shane Smith to get to Fucking Horse one year.
That'd be super
They
sweet.
usually try to pull a Texas band because there's that like Miles City, Texas connection.
Yeah.
So it's like generally been a Texas band. It was like Mickey Motor Cars the other time we went, and Randy wasn't Randy Rogers. Who the hell else was it?
I don't remember.
It's Mickey and the Motor Cars and somebody else. Oh, Reckless Kelly. That's what it was. But it's usually a Texas, some sort of Texas band.
Yeah.
Flatland Cavalry played at the Big Timber Rodeo once.
Oh, really?
It was like on a Thursday night.
The Big Timber Rodeo has actually been a lot of fun. We went that year.
That was a COVID year.
Have you ever been to the Wilsaw one?
No, but I have heard about it a bunch.
Pretty wild for a little ranch rodeo.
We went like 2 or 3 times COVID year because everything there was nothing going on.
So we just
you guys were going there all the time.
You went there and
well, and like it was busy as shit.
Yeah.
Like the stands were packed, and the parking lot was packed, and
they
we were having a great time.
You like, not only was there like not people wearing masks, they always had like T-shirts that said like, "You better not tell me to wear a mask." that was the Big Timber Rodeo.
Yeah,
I've never been to the Red Lodge Rodeo.
I've heard that Red Lodge is very good on 4th of July.
But so is Livingston.
Yeah, so that's why would you drive past Livingston to go to Red Lodge?
So is the Ennis Rodeo, and
yeah,
it's funny like that whole.
And then you realize, man, these people are just drunk at all these rodeos. That's why they say they're fun.
Pretty much, yeah. That, and you can eat a 4x4 for $3 or whatever we would.
It's
eat.
pretty crazy though. Like those kids chasing money on that, like running from like Red Lodge to Livingston in a day, and like riding again, and like
one night to the next night.
Yeah, like you're in, a couple 100 miles away the next morning.
Yeah.
Trying to chase $1,000.
Well, my sister
spent $200 on diesel getting there.
You got stepped on by a fucking bull.
Becky,
yeah, your buddy's taping you back up.
My little sister's hubby just got back surgery. I'm like, man, what the hell happened to him? He's like 29. He's been like riding broncs his whole life. It's like, yeah, what do you think fucking happened? You do that for a couple of years and it'll wear on you pretty quick.
Yeah, like the riders are, like the team ropers, those guys are got a pretty long career ahead of them. But
I was so damn close to like getting out of bronc last summer, and then the first they had like the ones here in Bozeman last summer.
Yeah,
the first one I went to, like this guy went off.
I think there's one Thursday before the wedding.
Yeah. Oh shit. Now we couldn't challenge again.
Well, and they let anybody go.
Yeah, like anyone could do it.
So this guy was like, "I'm gonna do it."
I was like hell down on doing it. This guy went off and he just went down and he just laid there. And then it was like,
they brought an ambulance and a stretcher out. And he's like, "Oh, maybe I should."
And it was like 15 minutes till the ambulance got there, and I'm just sitting there like it was like 15 minutes for me to sit and think about my life. And I was like, you know what?
This isn't worth it.
I know I said I was going to do this, but I think it might be good.
Yeah.
Rick just tried to challenge me again. Week before the wedding, everyone's going to be here. 300 people in town. We'll advertise it.
Like 48 hours before the wedding.
I think you should have made that decision 10 years ago or more.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be cool to
you wouldn't even have thought twice about it.
I know, but like my little sister Becky just did a bronc like 2 years ago, and I'm like, shit, she did it. I can do it.
Can't let her show me up.
Come on. What is this? Yeah. I think saddle bronc is like relatively safe, but I think this was a saddle bronc ride. So
again, like it's the team rope and that sort of
rodeo clown.
Yeah,
that takes an athlete.
Although
takes an athlete too.
Plenty of those girls get messed up barrel racing, so like it's all.
Yeah,
I think they get messed up and then they start barrel racing. I don't know. This is a chicken and egg thing, but
yeah,
mutton busting. That's where it's at.
Yeah,
those fucking kids.
Mutton busting's moms is where it's at.
You think I could say that statement? How did I say that?
I don't know. You probably shouldn't say it on a podcast.
Fair enough. All right. So tell Rick that.
Yeah, I think he'll figure it out. Yeah. Mutton busting moms.
Yeah.
I think he's got it.
Man, we got off topic.
I think
You know how this all started?
we're talking about barbecue.
This all started because I asked you how you got into cooking, and we started talking about barbecue.
And now we're
Next thing you know,
mutton busting.
next thing we're mutton busting in Miles City.
Yeah,
I still haven't made it to the bucking horse sale. It's stupid. I've never gone.
it's
What is it, May?
I mean, it's
Third
just
week in
like
May every year.
Is that Suburban still there?
oh, it's got to be. Dude, I should call that lady. I gotta call that lady. Her name's Sandy. Hey, Sandy from Miles City.
It's got to be cheaper now.
You gotta. Yeah, it should be right. It's
He's
been
gonna be
sitting there.
journal tonight, looking up first.
I have her number in myself. Dead serious.
Sandy, bitchin' Suburban.
I thought we were gonna get shot in Miles City. We're like walking through this woman's garage.
She's
Her
got
husband
all
passed
kinds
away.
of
She's like, look at all this stuff. He's like, what else you got? I'm
dude.
like,
She's got
"Yeah."
fucking. She's got 50 grand worth of good shit in the garage. And that thing's sitting outside.
Don't tell Mark Conrad about that.
That's the only Suburban I've seen that doesn't have any rust on it, or it has like one dent in the entire fucking thing.
Well, let's go.
It's unreal.
Let's go this May and just take a dolly from U-Haul.
Yeah. I mean, she's like, yeah, it ran before it sat here. And I'm like, dude, fucking battery. But,
That thing was a 5-door, right?
it was a
Thought it was.
3-door.
3-door?
Yeah, 2 front doors and 1 back.
Okay, yeah.
And then it has, and I technically
Yeah,
it's a
5-door.
Technically,
Yeah,
a
but it
5-door.
only has the 1 second row door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they call it a 3-door, even though it's a 5-door. I shouldn't have said that out loud, man.
It's gone now.
Somebody else is going to
It's
go fucking
already
get
gone.
it. But it's not a.
Well, but you'll
We're-
know which of the 24 people bought it.
It's probably. Right now. I
Tim's
mean,
got a new Suburban.
that thing's bitching, dude. You just got to put a 4-wheel drive in that thing and fucking.
How's
do that.
Tim's friend that still lives in upstate New York has that Suburban?
Yeah, fucking.
Son of a
Dude,
bitch.
that was unreal. That thing is. That,
Texas truck.
literally,
200,000
the inside of that thing is flawless. I'm like, dude, this is unreal. Like the upholstery is still in really good condition, considering it's literally been sitting there for 30 years and
You
nobody's
go-
running.
You go get a Suburban, you sell the FJ, and it's just nothing but Chevys in there now.
Oh shit! I gotta get a transfer case and a straight axle, and then I'll be set.
That Suburban would have been about as good of a project as Fowler's 4Runner.
No, it would have been way better because when I would have been finished with it, it would have it'd actually be fucking awesome. Fowler's 4Runner still would have been a 2003 4Runner.
Put some like Dana 60s under that thing, and
Yeah. I think
Now
it's
the
cool
wheels
shit.
are turning. I was
Yeah.
thinking about the goddamn Suburban again.
It literally has one dent in it. It has one dent in it about the size of my fist.
hey man, I fully support this.
It has 0 rust.
I fully support it.
3rd week of May, I'm getting my email's been blowing up with Miles City promos.
You got the big Dirty Max out there. Start hot shotting shit.
Yeah,
Fuck.
right.
We're taking that thing to Miles City this year with a U-Haul dolly on it.
Yeah.
We should all probably just chip in and buy a dolly. That'd come in handy for each of us at least once every 5 years.
Probably.
Yeah.
My dad used to have one. I don't know where it went. Might still be available.
After we straight towed that truck down to the shop, my landlord came out with his little hitch that hooks up. He's like, I just couldn't figure out where to hook this thing. I'm like, man, I didn't see that thing till after we towed it down there, but that would have been nice.
What do you have?
It's just like a little pin on like a I
Yeah,
don't know
tow
what you
bar.
call it. Yeah, like just a tow bar.
Okay.
You could hook it somewhere on the truck and
Yeah.
put it on a ball hitch. I don't know where we would have done it, but might have been better than a tow rope.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not.
Probably could have rigged up something. You said it was a plow truck.
Yeah, we could have.
That little Nissan.
You didn't have any of your redneck buddies around. You weren't thinking.
No,
clearly.
they weren't. I was like, man, I gotta get
I just gotta
There's
get this
nothing
done.
wrong with a rope. It worked, right?
these city kids that grew up in Montana to help me tow this truck down the street.
Right.
Probably never even bought Flow Monsters.
Most people don't know what they are.
Half the people I know that grew up in Montana don't hold a candle to half the rednecks I know in upstate New York.
Sure.
I was listening to Meat Eater podcast the other day with Jeff Foxworthy.
I saw that one and didn't listen to it.
Oh, It's hilarious. He's great. I love Jeff Foxworthy, anyways. But like, he was talking about the whole like,
Shout out to Jeff.
yeah, big time. If you're listening, send us a signed copy. But he was talking about it's funny actually, like going way back in my childhood. My mom's a big Jeff Foxworthy fan. Like obviously he's got his like don't be you might be a redneck stuff, but like his other book, like I think it's like No Shirt, No Shoes, No Problem, something like that. It's also pretty funny. But my mom has had a framed, I think she bought my dad the You Might Be a Redneck like little peel off calendar at one point in time. And she had it framed, still does. You might be a redneck if you can breastfeed while driving a stick shift. Which she definitely did, like
all the time.
Running, my mom ran a paper route when I was like super young.
Yeah.
And definitely can breastfeed while driving a stick shift.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I saw them in upstate New York, the Blue Collar Comedy Tour. That was
nice.
Yeah.
But in this podcast, he's talking about like where the like You Might Be a Redneck thing came from. He was like in Michigan, I want to say. It was like he was doing a show in Michigan, and they were like giving him a hard time about like, oh, you're just, you know, all you Southern guys, you're just a bunch of fucking rednecks. And he's like, man, if you don't think rednecks exist in Michigan, he's like, we're at a bowling alley with valet parking. Like, if you don't think there's rednecks in Michigan,
is that where he's from or no?
No, he's from like Georgia. But like, he's like, you don't think you have rednecks in the North? We're at a bowling alley with valet parking.
Never.
No, I've definitely never come across a bowling alley with valet parking. But
yeah, you probably wouldn't think there's a bunch of places in Big Sky, Montana that have valet parking either, though. So.
Well, I would assume that a lot of places Big Sky have valet parking because I've been there.
Yeah. But if you hadn't been to Montana, you'd be like, what?
I'd be surprised if like the Spoke had valet parking. But we're probably not too far off.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Just due to general parking proximity.
What else we got? Anything else we want to
I don't know. We got sidetracked on the food thing, but
I don't know. We're 2 hours and 15 minutes in right now.
Got any more questions?
A little shy of that. I mean, we'll have you back on.
Right after Jeff Foxworthy.
We're gonna have to pencil him in.
Hey, Jeff, send me your schedule. I'm kind of busy right now, but yeah, send me your schedule.
We talked about Austin quite a bit. Maybe Rogan will swing up here.
Sure.
Too. We got to get him on here.
Yeah.
If we got time.
No, I was thinking
some DMT.
I mean, we could go for a long time, but I was thinking we could go get something to eat. What are you guys thinking?
Probably not a bad idea. I got to drive your dumb ass to the airport in the
Well, he
morning.
just opened a beer, so should we keep going?
I mean, we can at least finish this.
We can finish this. What else? Rick, you got to talk about your new wife. We haven't talked about her at all.
Yeah.
Well, before we do that,
well, I mean, that's
we'll just share with you what we've learned on doing these. That like,
what the fuck is that to say?
It's not always great to share certain stories, and it's not always great to share certain names. So I'm just
granted we have
before you put your foot in your mouth. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Fair enough.
You can give me another beer on that note, though.
No, we've just recorded a bunch.
We're keeping it going.
We've just recorded a bunch of these and decided, hey, we're not going to publish that because we just talked about it with people.
We said people's names.
But yeah, you don't have
details.
You don't have that choice. So you sign the consent when you walk through the door. This is all getting aired. All you have to say is she's a lovely, lovely lady.
She is.
That's it.
Oh, Haley is wonderful. It's funny though, like you come back to like that. It comes back to like shitty Volkswagens, and
wait, whoa. Where are you going here?
No, it totally comes. It totally comes full circle here.
You mean being broke?
Yeah, being broke, driving a shitty car. So like
in the back of a Volkswagen?
no, it's not like mall rats.
Don't say
but-
this, Frank. Don't say this.
It's not like mall rats, but nothing uncomfortable like the back of a Volkswagen.
Right.
But so like when I moved here, again, sight unseen, like I found somebody on Craigslist, like while I was living in Minneapolis for the summer before I moved out here. And I was like, hey, I have a credit score for one. Like so
Which
like,
is unreal.
yeah, right. Like I mean, I'm dealing with college kids like moving into their first home out of the dorms. Like that's so like, hey, I have a 4 years of rental history, like a credit score, and I'm moving there just trying to find a room. So I find these kids on Craigslist. They're all 19, fresh out of the dorms. I'm 22, and
Look at all these pussies. I'm a grown ass 22-year-old. Deal with these 19-year-olds.
right.
But that's
got a
I mean,
credit
that's what you
score.
thought back then, because it was like
I mean, 19 to 22 is
like
like
a huge.
That's what I'm saying.
like,
It's like-
it's a huge range.
Yeah, and like 19 to 22 is like a lifetime worth of. Shit.
And then when you compare like what I had been doing for the last 4 years versus what these kids have been doing for the last 4 years, for sure. So I ended up finding these kids on Craigslist and move here sight unseen. Like I rented a house sight unseen, like with just like a couple of email pictures of like the room. Never met these kids. I was like, like this is either going to be like a really good story or it's going to be a really good story. Like whatever direction it goes. And so like I show up with the case of beer. I had to have my buddy find out as to when I could or couldn't buy beer at. Show up at the house, case of Bud Heavies. Meet these kids. They don't drink Bud Heavies. So I
This
did.
is already bad.
So I did. But anyways, I ended up like a couple days later, my roommate Devin's cousin shows up. My now wife.
Son of a bitch.
I was like,
And I thought you were calling her a beat up Volkswagen.
no. Honey, that was Tim. No, so I moved there. I didn't own a mattress at this point in time. I had like a Thermarest.
Just so you know, you cannot put a full size mattress inside a Jetta.
No, you definitely cannot.
Period.
Definitely cannot. So I had like
Not even a Casper roll up mattress.
well, those weren't a thing at that point.
Right, but like even if you wanted to.
I don't know. I put a whole ass mule deer in the back of that thing. I got pictures of that too. That's a different story.
Someday we're gonna get real established and have a website, and Rick's gonna have to send in all these pictures of everything he talked about.
Right, because it'll be proof.
It'll be in the show notes.
Proof. He'll have to pull pictures off of his
MySpace.
iPod Nano or whatever it was at the time.
Can I get this Polaroid digitalized?
Right,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to jumpstart your Motorola Razr and get the photos off it.
Yeah, so I moved into this kid, Devin. Haley was his cousin. I ended up being in Devin's wedding. So the story worked out well. And that was, we've been together most of the last 13 years. Now married. But we really started kind of dating after I went to my aunt and uncle's place in Breckenridge, Colorado for Christmas and drove back in my Jetta. Bought gas at some fucking podunk town in northern Wyoming. And it was like, I don't know, 35 fucking blowout. Froze my fuel system up like the next morning. Like made it back to Bozeman. My car wouldn't run for a week because like
It was all gelled
fuel
up.
system was iced up, and like I didn't have a heated garage or anything to put it in, so I just had to like ride that out. Dump like 4 bottles of heat down that tank and just let it kind of work itself through. But Haley had to give me rides to my job at Home Depot.
Now we're back to Home Depot.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle's gonna find that out after the next winter with the Duramax. It's like when a diesel gels up.
I hope not.
Just park that damn thing in the garage every night. Will it fit in there?
I hope that's not what I find out. I mean, I keep the what is it? It's like 911, but it's not 911.
Just
It is
stuff in the white bottle.
Yeah, it's basically it's in the white bottle.
911.
I keep whatever
they put. They say that thing on you.
They say put a pint in for every tank. I put it in every single tank.
I feel like they say that and we all do it, and then our cars and trucks gel up.
They still do sometimes. I mean, they just do.
Yeah. Well,
you
that's
got
gonna
like
suck.
cat filters on that thing.
Yeah, it's got a cat on it.
No, like you got like the big caterpillar filters on there.
Oh,
like one of those kits.
Oh, no, like aftermarket one.
Yeah, you might think about that.
You should do that. Okay. I mean, I bought it like the day I bought it, which is kind of wild. It was negative 26. Came home, parked it. And...
You just Alaska and just never shut them off.
Yeah.
You can get that nice like water air separator fuel system that they put down. Like they like usually hang down kind of by the tank.
Uh-huh.
I think those are like pretty helpful for that.
I mean, at the end of the day, you want to get water out of the system, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the deal. Is like you got to get the water out of the fuel system.
Yeah, I think a lot of times it's the water in the filters that'll clog things up.
Mm.
But
yeah, I should educate
when
myself.
you switch to those like external big filters, it's at least easier to deal with, and they're easier to change for that matter. But
Right, just for third zone. Can we do anything with him?
Yeah, go pet him. Tell him to shut up.
Go pee on him.
Yeah, something. Just tell him to be quiet.
Yeah, a lot of things come back to the Jettas, man. That's just the way it is.
Well, it's like you had him for a while, right?
I feel like there's some emo-y punk rock song where the lyrics are like ex-girlfriends, black Jettas. There's something like that.
Probably black Jettas.
Someone's gonna call me out on that. Maybe there isn't. Maybe I'm totally. But I think that's the thing.
It might be. It might be.
I think the last time I had that conversation, Google wasn't as good as it is now. So like, you could probably find that out. But
What do you want to eat tonight?
I don't know, man.
We gotta eat something.
I'm
starving. I didn't really have lunch.
Made some pretty kick-ass bolognese last night with some moose.
Nice.
A few people over, homemade pasta, the whole 9 yards.
Nice, good deal.
Honestly, still have all the dough in a pile of sauce. We could go eat moose bolognese.
You could. All right. I'm down.
If you guys want some moose bolognese,
I could do that.
I've got dough. We could have fresh pasta in 10 minutes.
Yeah, you just roll it out, cut it up.
Like I got a ball of dough in the fridge that I need to actually put away. I don't know. Did you make it through your show notes?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't. That was just like for me to remember your intro.
Rick, he was fucking prepared for you. You have that beautiful intro.
Hey, man, I'll give you props. Like, you nailed the last name pronunciation. I don't know if...
Can you do Snidarich?
Snidarich.
Yeah, I got it.
I just call you Rick Slick, man. I keep things simple.
Well, my name's Richard, which is long for Dick. But, it's funny.
So you're gonna, when we type this up, it's gonna be Richard Long for Dick Snidarich, special guest.
It's funny though, because I hang
refined redneck.
I hang out with a bunch of guys I went to high school with out here, and they all call me Ricky, which is like how I grew up. Because I'm a junior. I don't know if we've covered that yet. But,
we haven't.
I'm a junior, so I was always Ricky. So like, if you met me like before the age of 16,
Richard.
No, it's Ricky. This is
okay.
Like, all my buddies from Minnesota that live out here call me Ricky.
Okay.
And then it's like I've met some people like through them and we were at my buddy's wedding last summer, 2 summers ago, and one of the guys there had like met on a snowmobiling trip. And
Ricky.
He comes up and he's like, "We've met before, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, Rick." And he's like, "No, it's not Rick." Like,
It's Ricky.
he's like, "It's Ricky, right?" He's like, "I had to remember Rick." Like,
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, no, like you're right, 100%. Like,
Yeah, it's Ricky.
with who you met me with,
Yeah.
that's what you would have been introduced as." Like,
Right.
That's an ongoing thing with me because like my siblings and people I grew up with call me Timmy, and people out here are like, "What? Did they just call you Timmy?" And it's just like
You're like, "Yeah, it's my sister."
It's this never-ending thing. I'm like, I'll fucking strangle you right now. That's a funny thing.
When I was Timmy, I wasn't doing jiu-jitsu, man. Okay, like, I'm
You
Tim
see
now.
these fucking ears? I'm Tim.
It's the same thing with my mother, like Elizabeth, but like all her siblings call her Lizzie. And we're like, what? Like, but it's like,
Yeah.
that's weird when you like. It happens with a lot of those names.
It's also like my mom has transitioned to calling me Rick for whatever.
That's how I was gonna say. My mother calls me Tim now, and she's like, "I'm like, you almost sound uncomfortable when you say it." She's like, "Tim." I'm like,
I don't know when that like came about. So like she does it now, and then my buddy Eric's mom also calls me Rick now.
I wonder
who like I've known Michelle since I was like knee high to a grasshopper, but
it might have been something more like serious with like older generations. There was a time in your life where you had that the initiation where you are now man Rick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny. Like
I do think it's kind of weird when you see like a grown man that you like meet at work and their last name ends with E, meaning like Timmy, or that's what I mean. Is like you're like, are you Timmy or are you Tim? Because you seem like a grown man. And I think you're a grown man.
You're also like kind of being a Timmy right now.
Yeah, so you're like you're 50. Why is everybody calling you Timmy? Like, but then people are like,
clearly aren't your friends.
But then people
then you talk to them for a few minutes, and I go,
yeah, exactly. And so what I'm getting at is like, and I'm like, wait, you're correcting people and you want them to call you Timmy as a grown man?
I feel like that's more popular in the construction industry, though.
It can make sense in a nickname way.
Like you're gonna be
like,
a 6-year-old dude named Timmy. Like that's the like, right? Like that. If you're gonna come across that, it's gonna be like.
I almost feel like it's disrespectful.
It's gonna be a super that's like throwing a hard hat at you named Timmy. Like that's
what was there was like
been doing this since the dawn of time.
It doesn't really matter what name it was, but like I remember asking this guy, I'm like, do you actually want me to call you that? And because I feel uncomfortable calling you that. And he's like, that's my name. And I'm like, all right. Like
man, just checking.
I'll treat you like a 13-year-old, but that's fine.
I just wanted to verify.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Ricky thing. I come across it more now than I used to, because like when I was in Tahoe, like, and I didn't have much of that overlap.
Yeah.
I'm
Rick.
Yeah, and like even when I moved, like high school's young, like when I like, I was Rick when I started in Brainerd, but then everybody I grew up with in Mound, it's always been Ricky.
Yeah.
It didn't really happen to me until like my like folks or like friends from back home came out, or like siblings or parents, and they met people out here, and they're like, "Wait, what?
Who are you talking about?
What's up?
Who's this team character?"
Yeah, it makes sense.
I read some book when I was little, like about that. Like the guy went from like Billy to William or something, or Bill, and I don't remember. And like, so I always thought about it when I got older.
I've never, as a Richard, I've never understood the Dick thing, but
I know there's some guys that just love to go by Dick.
Yeah,
like my name is Dick, and they just own it.
I'll go with the Richard is long for Dick.
That's good. Yeah. I never heard that before. That's good.
Yeah,
we get we go to Bridger Brewing every Friday for lunch, right? Like, and he doesn't work on Fridays anymore, but Ross, bartender there, I don't know if he has a come across Ross in your town.
Redhead guy.
Yeah, tall,
No,
skinny
but Bridger
redhead.
Brewing is a good place for lunch.
It is a good spot for lunch. But Ross, yeah, the redhead, tall redhead guy.
Long hair. No?
Longish hair. I mean, depends.
Way longer than mine.
Longer than yours, so longer than parts of mine. Too. But anyways, he I run into
Rick, by the way, side note, you're too tall for the short bald guys podcast.
That's right.
That's why I haven't had to shave my head yet, because I'm tall enough to like you really gotta be able to see it.
Nobody could see it up there.
I gotta like unfortunately like move my head in front of a mirror in the wrong way, and then I'm like, oh fuck. Should I really start shaving that? Like,
I'm familiar with that.
All right, finish your. Sorry.
But anyway, so like I run into Ross all the time. Like, I'm snowmobiling in Cook City. Like, you roll into the miners and then you run into Ross. Like, just all over town. But or like I'll be like up at under the Big Sky and Whitefish. Like, you'll hear, "Hey, Dick!" Like, which Ross likes to call me Dick. Always has.
It's awesome. I think we saw him at MAP the other day.
But he'll anytime we go to lunch and he's like working, he doesn't work there for our Friday deal, but like if you go like earlier in the week, he generally will like name the tabs based around Dick. Like it'll be like Dick likes Dick 1, likes Dick 2, friends with Dick. Like,
oh, that's funny. I got you.
yeah, he's just naming the tabs at the table. It's just like Dick likes Dick 1, likes Dick 2.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
You ladies hungry yet?
I am.
Okay. We're gonna wrap it up.
I think so.
No,
Any closing words?
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Rick.
We'll do it again.
that was fun.
Yeah. We'll do it again.
I've only done one other podcasting type session that never aired, and it was very similar to this, and it was fun.
This is gonna air.
This is gonna air.
Well, that's fine. We just like it was the same kind of format. Although I think I showed up at it about this many
Beers in.
That's a good move.
Yeah. We
I was unaware of the situation I was walking into,
we did one of those.
and then I got mic'd up.
We did one of those kind of a while ago. We went out and then got home at like 11. And
I think we came back.
We went
came back
full
with an
drunk.
18 pack.
It went full drunk history on you, like,
and then we listened to it a few days later, and we're like, "Are you
Sober?
kidding me?"
Is horrible.
Because you're like, "No way."
we got to delete this.
But you know what we did?
What?
Archived it.
Like this is how this is how we talk. Yeah, it was
Well, you know what
interesting.
we did? We came up with the idea. We're like, you know what?
Yeah.
Instead of just sitting here talking to each other, we should probably start interviewing like friends and family and find out what their life story was.
Mhm.
Like that's when we came up with the idea.
I think it's always funny, like in this kind of situation, like hearing yourself in headphones. Like,
Yeah.
you don't sound how you think you sound, right? Like,
It's even worse when you listen out to it posted somewhere.
yeah,
Shit.
Well, and you'll listen to this,
I sound like a
and
bitch.
you'll listen to this, and then like, I just did it. You'll say like a bunch of times, so that's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, whatever. And that happens.
Yeah.
But mostly, I think you're always just, man, that I sound like that.
Yeah, it's weird.
I sound like a bitch ass.
It's uncomfortable hearing yourself talk.
All right, we'll shut this thing down.
All right.
Thanks. Have a great night.
See ya.